Hello, welcome everyone. Laser Sports Academy, Holmes here for the Zone Laser Tag Swedish Championships or SweNats 2024 review. That was in Borås this December, only like a week or two ago. Yeah, here we are. Today I'm joined by three guests. We have a new guest, Gotte from Sweden. You played on Taggers. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, it's going all right.
Yeah, welcome. We have
Thank you.
returning guest Domi from Team Destroyer. Welcome.
Yo, yo.
Yo, yo. And we have returning guest and the reigning SweNats champion, Hacker. Welcome, Matt.
Hello, thank you.
Mega friends. Cool. Alrighty. So for anyone that watched the Worlds review stream that we did, Butzer did something different with that, where there was a bit of discussion just around the tournament itself, specifically like the things that were different from this tournament maybe to previous tournaments. And also, I mean, it was in Boros 6 years in a row, right?
Something like that. I think
something like that.
No,
maybe
2019 was Gothenburg, but
A lot of years in a row is the
possibly.
point.
Yeah. The entire 20s at least.
Yeah, so just a little bit of discussion around like maybe how this SweNats shapes up compared to the previous ones. So yeah, after that we'll go through all of the teams in order from 18th to 1st. There'll be some discussion. We'll try and make it more centered around the team as a whole and what they were doing strategically and things that they can maybe do differently, rather than talking too much about individual players, though inevitably we're going to highlight a few people. Also, let us know in the chat if the music's okay, if anyone's super loud or super quiet. I'll keep an eye on the chat. But are you gentlemen ready to get into the thick of it?
sure.
Yeah. Amazing. So, yeah, I guess my first question for you guys is just as a big general question, how did SweNats 2024 compare to the previous years that you guys have attended? Anyone can go.
Yeah, so I would say tournament-wise, the big difference was the amount of teams for sure. Like the tournament felt very different in that sense that you had way longer pauses, way longer breaks, and like then 6 games in a row, and then another like 5-hour break.
Yeah, and did you enjoy the longer breaks more or less so than what you've done previously?
I don't know, to be honest. Like one day I was like, this is fine, and the other day it felt like a bit tedious because we would go for a break in like at midday, and then we had like another 3-hour break, and then we would just chill. Yeah, so I don't know you guys, but for me, in my opinion, like less teams, I think is slightly better. Like in my opinion, like 15 max, I would say. Like 18 was too much.
Yeah, and what does everyone else feel about this?
I don't think I'm really of the same opinion here at all. I think 18 teams was great, and it was great to see so many different European countries represented. And I also like the fact that we got a pretty wide scale. Yeah, it's a lot of countries. We got a very like wide scale of skill. I know some years previous when I played, you've had maybe like 1 or 2 teams which have gotten beaten hard every single game they played. And it's not been a fun tournament for them at all. And this time we had 2 teams, one from Latvia, one from Austria, completely new to our game, or not new to Zone, but new to our game, playing tournaments with us. And they didn't even finish last. They actually had competitive games in the beginning. They struggled, but they got into the tournament, they learned something, and spoke a little bit with the Latvian guys at the end, and their question to like SweNats, the organizing in Borås, was essentially like, okay, is it going to be here again next year? So it felt like they were really excited to come back, and I think having these bigger tournaments, I think, is good for the growth of the sport, and I think especially as Swedish nationals should be a big tournament. I think maybe what's missing are having smaller tournaments that could be a little bit more competitive and a little bit more selective. But I think that's something you should move into another space. I think SweNats has to be both broad and very competitive at the same time, I think.
Yeah, sure. And would you like to see SweNats to go more in the direction that, for instance, like the Australasian Championships has gone, where we're getting to like upwards of 30 teams, or do you think there is still some kind of a maximum that you would set?
For me personally, I would love 30 teams, but I don't think 30 is realistic at the moment. I don't think we have 30 teams playing. So I think 18 is sort of like, it's the most we've had in a long time. I'd be surprised if we have 18 again next year, but it would be a positive surprise.
Yeah, of course. Before we get your thoughts, Gotte, I'll just get you to quickly check your microphone setting, whatever it is, because we can hear you great, but we can hear you like twice. And I think it's not happening for other people, so it'd be something to do with your mic. But I'll let you fiddle with that. And Haka, how did you feel this SweNats compared?
I actually enjoyed the longer breaks because I hate when you have a game, then you have a break for 40 minutes to an hour, and you kind of can't like do anything or go anywhere. You just kind of have to sit at the site and wait for your next game, and then it's a game and another hour again, and it feels, I just don't like it. I like the longer breaks that you actually have, like you play at in like the morning or the evening, and you have like longer breaks in between where you can go for lunch and like do stuff, and you just don't have to like sit at the side and order some food there and like quickly eat it because you have only like a half an hour break or something like that. So that's one thing I enjoyed. I don't really mind having 18 teams. I agree with Gotte that like it's a good thing to like get more teams, get more people involved. Then we have like tournaments like Zoltec next year where you have only 50 and it's handpicked, and like those tournaments are for the super competitive ones. And like if for the nationals we can get more teams, I think it's a good thing as well.
Yeah, cool. I think for me, I've got an interesting perspective because I'm coming from Australasian Championships. Like I was at the nationals, I had 37 teams, for instance. I think 18 teams, obviously compared to what normally happens, like 11 to 15 teams, things like SweNats, like US Nationals was 11 teams. It's a big jump, but the way they did the schedule, I think handled it really well. I think what can be really cringe when you have that many teams is when you have stuff where you, like you were saying, Hacker, where if you're hot, like let's say you have the first game at 8 a.m. and then you have like a 45-minute hour break, and then you have one more game, and then you have like a 45 1-hour break, one more game, and you like I've had days on Australasian Championships that have kind of felt like this. Like you play one game and you're like, oh, I've got to wait around for like not enough time to do anything substantial, but like too much time that it's just like it really drags. The way they did the schedule, I think, handled it really well. Where when you did play, generally the breaks between your games weren't too long. Like maybe the longest would be like a 5-6 game break with 10-minute games. Wasn't too bad. But when you did have your break, it would be like a substantial like 3-hour, 4-hour break, something like this somewhere in the middle of the day where you have time to go get lunch from the Benny's like pasta place. You have time if you want, you can go back to your hotel, you can have a quick shower and you can get changed because you don't want to be standing around like in your stink for like 4 hours doing nothing. So I think the way they did the schedule handled the number of teams really well for how long the tournament is.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what else? Moon makes a good point. Like when you do have, and this is something we have in Australia as well, so we have like all of these teams, that being said, it's been declining a little bit. Like we went from 37 to like 33 to like 30, and I think the last nationals was like 24 or something. So it is going down a bit. But something that does happen when you do have all of these teams, and is naturally there's going to be quite a lot of variability between the skill level. Like the difference between like the best teams, like the top 5 teams and the bottom 5 teams, is like it's crazy. And then when you play a full round robin and everyone's versing everyone, like the way the games play in a round robin with teams of that much variability are like super not enjoyable. Like the lower tier team in that game, like let's say they're in a game where they're versing like 2 top tier teams and they're like the lower tier team. For them, they're just getting like absolutely reamed. Like they go around every corner and they're just like, bah, bah. They're just like, oh my God, I'm getting absolutely destroyed. There's obviously some value in that for them. Like they can learn lots of things from like these players and they can see what the teams are doing. But it can be pretty crushing going through a game and you come out with like 10K score, like as a team, and then like second, third place have like 35, 40K, sometimes like 60K, 70K games or something. And then for the top tier teams, they go into those games and they're like, can't wait to see how this one plays out because it's a 3-team sport. Quite often that third team you can have 2 good teams and 1 lower tier team. So often that third team will be the one that actually gets to decide who wins in a way, because they're losing, they have to do something drastic. So that we'll dump, and where they dump can sometimes dictate who gets to win that game. And so you have
most
games
of the time it decides.
Yeah. And you just have a game that's pretty much a write-off and you're like, well, there's realistically not a lot we could have done there. It just didn't get swung our way. So yeah, that's definitely an argument against having that many teams, or at least that many teams where like everyone, like in the round robin stage, everyone plays everyone. I think what we did this time with the initial seeding and then the play-in, which was like a really short round robin, and then going into group stages and the cascades, I think that was a good way of dealing with that. So, yeah. What else? What else was different about this SweNats compared to other ones? Oh, well, solos. We did the Gothenburg with the solos with bases. What was everyone's feelings about that?
We did that same thing was last year, I think. Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I mean, I don't really like the base solo, but it's fun to have something different for solos, other than having just the regular solo every single time, every single tournament. So, in my opinion, it's fun, and I think that progressive is like the best solo format there is.
It's so good.
So,
it's so good. I've been saying, actually, I filmed last night a little like vlog style video talking about SweNats and specifically like the things that are different about SweNats to Australasian championships. And yeah, I talked a lot about the progressive solos and how it's like so stressful, but it's like so fun, and it's kind of funny as well. Like you hear especially with the arena announcements, like the next player will be eliminated in 5 seconds, and you haven't tagged someone for like 30 seconds. You've just been getting destroyed. You're like, oh no, this is gonna be me. It was I was a massive fan of the progressive solos personally, and like you said, not a fan of the solos with bases. I'd happily exchange that for some other solo format, but Domi, what was your thoughts on the solos?
I like the solo bases because it's like, I mean, there's a factor of randomness, like much more than the other solos.
Yeah.
But like Hacker said, it's fun. So, and also I think in the progressive they had the elim timing in it. So if they could, I don't know the technicals, but if they could change that to the normal timing, then it would be perfect.
Yeah, it was weird that the timing was different between the formats. That was so strange.
Yeah, 3 different timings.
How does that even happen? This must be like a legacy moment or something, because like that would never happen. Like I've changed. At least this was on Nexus. Actually, no, I've done it on H Pro as well, where my site has like changed the timing from the traditional H Pro timing to a different one, and that was like a massive ordeal. Like it took an entire day of plugging each pack, like changing the firmware, and like you don't have to do it like this. I've never heard of like you change a format and it changes the timing. It's like it's crazy to me. But yeah, definitely if they could have that the same as the timing is for the rest of the tournament, that would be awesome.
Yeah, like Moomin said, you need Ozone to have the same timing.
Interesting.
For the other game modes.
That's so strange. Gotte, what did you play solos?
First of all, how is my mic now? Is it alright? Is it the same? Is it the
It's
same?
a little bit echoey still. Like you're clear, but it's just like a little bit echoey. But
I can try and unplug my mic and see if my computer does better.
Yeah, give it a go. You might just have to reselect your mic in the software we're using. Love this stream moment. It's not a stream moment without some technical difficulties.
We can't hear you. No.
Yeah, we can't hear you at all. Amazing. Maybe I don't know. Do you have a thing where like your computer speakers are outputting your own sound? Oh no, he's taking his headset off. We'll get back to him. We'll let him fix that. Yeah. Well, what if you were to? I also wasn't a fan of the solos with bases because you kind of said it as well, Domi. There's a big element of like randomness. Like you could have a player that's just like standing at the baseline and they're just getting absolutely destroyed for like most of the game, and then everyone happens to kill each other at the same time. They forget about you, and you go and shoot a base 3 times. Maybe you do that twice in a game, and you could actually like almost win that game. Whereas like everyone else has been absolutely grinding it out, like taking duels, winning shit. Like you could just like, oh, you know.
That's kind of how I got most of my bases in the finals. I just kind of stood back and like waited for the opportunity, and just kind of walked in and took the base.
Yeah. And I think what made it really frustrating for me personally was because the bases were so hard to get, there was like in all of my games, there was always players that weren't even, they were like, I'm not even going to fucking bother, right? Which is like, I guess fair enough, but it made it even more frustrating for the people actually trying to get the bases because there's this dude like 4 panels back that's just sitting there. Then you know they're not going to win the game, right? They're not going to win the game. They're content with like doing like well enough, which I guess when it's a 3-game series, oh my god, he'll be back. When it's a 3-game series, it makes sense to do that. But yeah, I don't know what.
It worked for me last year. Last year I was like in the second base solo. I didn't take a single base, and I had like 10.5k just pack points, and I was 4th in that game. So it works out. You just like collect all the deny bonuses and it works.
That's crazy. But what would you replace the solos with bases format?
Oh, that's a good question because there isn't really.
There's only so much you
never
can
have
do.
like just solo elimination because I think solo elimination is pretty dumb as well. Because you guys said that the randomness is fun, but I don't like the randomness. And solo elimination, just some random guy can just walk up to you and like double you for a few times, and then you get eliminated because of that. And like I don't like that at all. So I don't really know what you would like replace it with.
Yeah, I mean you could do a 2-game series, I guess, and just do progressive and thingy, and I guess with the grand final would be like 4 games, which feels like it makes sense for a grand finals. Like I know in Australia, we do our finals is a 5-game, like just standard solos. It's either a 5 or a 4-game series. In the 5-game series, you drop your best game and your worst game, and in the 4-game series, you just drop your worst game. So like 4 games for a grand finals makes sense. You know,
did we have 4 for the solos?
We had 6.
We had 6.
6, right?
Yeah, 6.
That was a slog. It was. Playing all the entirety of solos and then getting into the grand final and playing 6 fucking games. That was
Heikki played like 15 games in a row. Yeah, 15.
Yeah, I think I was with Heikki. Like we went through all of the same.
Oh yeah. You did as well.
So we were in the pack room, like I don't even care what I get in this grand final. Gotte, welcome back. How you sounding?
Thank you. Well, you tell me.
You sound
Oh,
great.
it's
You
fixed.
sound
better
perfect.
now.
Better.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
working
Okay,
now.
because the settings are literally the same. Exactly
I
the
don't-
same. But,
I don't know.
All right.
I don't make the
Right.
rules.
Yeah, because you didn't
Great.
have the echo
Fantastic.
like at the start. It just like appeared from like somewhere.
Yeah, because I thought, like, did it come right now? It's really weird. Let's just hope it doesn't happen again.
Amazing. Gotte, what was your experience
Yeah.
with solos? And what did you think of like the 3 different formats?
Yeah, well, I love Gothenburg solos. For me, it's the only way of playing solos. I didn't play this year because I'm terribly out of shape, so it would have killed my performance for the rest of the tournament. But I would never really participate in any other like solo format because for me, I need to have like some sort of purpose or target. I don't care if it's progressive, like someone gets eliminated all the time, or if you have bases and you need to get the bases for extra bonus, or even like if you play solo elimination and you have lives instead. Gets very chaotic, but it's also very fun. I remember we had a very crazy solo tournament. I think 2017 SweNats. I think that was the first time we did Gothenburg solos, and we had like all the different formats, and it was insane, but really fun.
Yeah, cool. All right. What else is there? I guess team elimination. Did that feel like it played any different to how it has in previous years, or is it the same what you'd kind of come to expect?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same year after year. Last year we did doubles, so that was fun for a change. Elim is fun. I like Elim. But it is pretty much, it doesn't really change because the maze doesn't change. So everyone already knows kind of the meta. And there are the few spots where people go and you just kind of battle it out then.
How did everyone else feel about team elimination?
Yeah, I agree with Hacker a lot. I think people have really learned how to play this arena in elimination. It was particularly painful for me because it was the first time I wore a pack for 2 years. My first elimination game. It was horrible. I shot people in the knees and in the foot and up in the ceiling and everything, and went out very quickly.
There's no sensors there. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I don't. I was aiming at them, looking straight, but it just went everywhere. But yeah, you could tell like that people had started to play this arena a little bit smarter. I think the last couple of times I played it, I think we got first with Federkin, and then I played with Turtle Power, and we got fourth, but we were the first team to finals. And I think we had my team all of those times had like the better read of the arena, and we played it really well. And I think that other teams have sort of like caught up now. They know how to utilize like the different areas, the red area, the blue area, how to play green and push towards what we call the Finland area, the area with like the sort of half walls and all of that. So maybe we need to shake something up there, or hopefully have a different arena next year. Not because Borås isn't fantastic, but because we shouldn't play SweNats in the same place every year.
Yeah, Domi, what was your feelings about team elimination this year?
Just how you guys said. I think it was the same like last year and the year before. Yeah, I don't have a real opinion about base run. I mean, I like the Boros arena, so it's fine for me. But I would like to see like at least 1 year like base run instead of elimination for a change.
Has the last few years of SweNats done team elimination instead of base run as well?
Yeah, we had one base run. It was, I think, 2021 or 2020. One of these, I think.
It was probably 2020.
Yeah, I remember like one time we played, but it was
2019 and 2020.
ago.
It was base run. Yeah.
Yeah, people in the chat are confirming this. Yeah, I think that's what I've heard a little bit of, is people are really like feeling the absence of base run and they'd love to see it back. But would you guys love to see base run instead of team elimination, or do we feel like team elimination like really deserves that spot? Because I mean, yeah, someone in the chat said it as well, that Elim is starting to almost feel like a second main event.
Like yeah, I like base run more, but
yeah, if it has to be instead of Elim, then yeah, at least for like that 1 year, as Domi said.
Yeah, but like Moomins says in chat, I think base run is like takes really long.
Yeah, so it would need to be instead of Elim and solo. So then you kind of only have 2 events for the whole tournament.
Right. Yeah, I guess yeah, you can only have 6 people at a base, right? So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, well, Gotte, did you have any thoughts on the base run versus team elimination?
Yeah, I think maybe 2 things. Like base run also makes for a lot of extra organization, because it's a 3-player format. When you have 5-player teams, it's a little bit of a mess. Some teams are 6 players, a lot of teams are 6 players. That works well. Other teams are just 5, works less well. And I also think there's a question of like Swedish tradition here, really, that elimination is very much a standing format in SweNats. And just circling back to a little bit of the reasoning of like why I want 18 teams on SweNats. We are missing tournaments, like other tournaments in Sweden right now. One of the 2 like most traditional tournaments in Sweden, which we used to have back in the days, was the Gathering, which was a base run tournament, and we would really need to have something like that again to like satisfy the desires of everyone. And I love playing base run, and just having a whole tournament where you can really like match that format, and then you can have 18 teams as well, because it's only 3 teams, only 3 players per team.
Yeah,
and you can get a lot of like interesting and different matchups with that. So I think base run tournaments standalone would be the absolute best thing, I think.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
if
you have
Gathering
that in
would come
Finland,
back,
don't you?
that would be like. Yeah. We've been doing it for 2 years now. It's called Base Inferno. It's kind of what we have like as a replacement for the Gathering, but obviously it would be nice to have the good old Gathering back in Stockholm.
Would be nice.
Yeah, Domi, is there any base run tournaments in Germany at all? Like, obviously, we've all seen the Team Destroyer TikTok. We know you guys love training with base run and stuff. But yeah, is there anything like that in Germany?
No, like if there would be a base run tournament, I think like we would do it by ourselves, like in our site, and then but then it would be like we would just talk about it and like do we want to do it, and then like we would set up a date in like 2 months or so. But it's not like a set in stone thing. Like we have, we just ask around like how many German teams we could get. Yeah, if we would even get the amount of teams we need for base run.
Yeah, because they're working on the Gathering at the moment, so maybe coming back in 2025. Happy days.
I'm really hoping.
What else? Was there anything else that was different? Oh yeah, there was that. What was everyone's feelings about with the main event, like comp, the seeding and then the group stages playing kind of thing? How did everyone feel about that?
I think it was a good system. I think some teams sort of get caught in this of being. I know this happened to like Sunday Kebab and Omega 9 in like different directions. They get caught in like a sort of weird position where like either losing all of the games and dropping far too far down, or winning all of the games and suddenly being a top team, when for Sunday Kebab they weren't really a top team. They were a very good team, like in the middle bracket, but like they jumped up from the lower bracket to I think like top 6 or 5. And then they got beaten pretty handsomely again by the teams up there, and went back down. But I think like all systems are gonna have like their imperfections, and I have absolutely no issue with there being like an initial seed, like there was to filter the teams into like the different brackets. I think that was a good system, so I have no real issues with like the group stages at all.
Anyone else?
I really liked it as well. The fact that we dropped to 5th place for Cascade 1 kind of made it better, because we could like actually got to face some other teams and not play the like same 6 teams over and over again. So that kind of made it better. But like if like the few teams who stayed like top 3 for the entire tournament, I don't really know how they felt like, but for me it would have been maybe a bit too repetitive, because there was a lot of games. There was like, what was it, like 21 games of like prelims. So like it would get like a bit repetitive if you have the same teams in the same, like in the top 5, let's say, and then you play like the same team or the same 2 teams maybe like 12 times or something like that. I think that's a bit too much, but I don't really know if these numbers are correct, but that's kind of how I like felt. If like we would have stayed at the top, we would have played the same teams over and over again. So it was good. Cascade 1 saved us because we dropped a bit.
Thank you, Cascade 1.
Was that
Domi.
why you dropped a bit?
Oh.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. We wanted to see the other teams.
Intentional sandbagging. Good man. Domi, what was your feeling about the group stages and stuff?
I liked it. Like I have no bad memories of anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I think for me, I really like the system. Talking about what I was kind of alluding to before, where if you start having lots of teams and you play a round like even a half round robin or a full round robin, those are the games that like in like Australasia that everyone unanimously, just like I'm speaking for everyone, everyone unanimously, like their least favorite part of the team event is round robin, because the games just play nothing like how the rest of the games are going to play in the tournament. Like once you get past round robin, it's like, oh, finally, like we can actually start the competition. We have to do this silly little thing first, and then we can start playing some real games. So I think doing the group stages was a really good way of kind of achieving that almost right off the rip after that initial play-in stage. So I was a massive fan of that. You could, I don't know about the math or whatever, but you could maybe do it differently, where instead of it being, you pretty much had to win all of your games, or you had to like lose all of your games to like go between the groups. If you just did like the bottom 1 or 2 teams of every group, other than the bottom 1, they go down, and then the top 1 or 2 teams of every group after each little stage thing, they go up. You do something like this. Obviously, you would have to like reset, like I guess you would have to reset victory points between them. But yeah, just looking at the math, like we had a pretty rotten like first group stage. Like I'm pretty sure we lost like 4 games, but we still stayed in the top group. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, like you'd have the same thing where like a team has done extremely well in their group. Like it seems like they don't really deserve, like that's not where they belong. But because of how the victory points work, they still weren't able to climb up. So, again, like you were saying, Gotte, like every system's going to have its, pros and cons. So, yeah. Is there anything else that was different about this SweNats compared to normal ones? Normal
the
ones.
Amount of terms, definitely.
Yeah, true. What was your feelings about like the reffing and all the terms and stuff this tournament?
It's just better. More terms is always just a good thing.
Yeah.
And it was like improved to like 2 times, 3 times more than last year, I think. So that's always good to see.
That's super cool. Yeah, what was everyone else's feelings about the reffing and the terms?
Yeah, I think the pre-made videos helped a lot. And like in general, the base evacuation rule, I think, also helped in that sense that like a ref is standing there and they have a clear term in front of them.
Yeah.
And then they turn, and then like for the next time if someone covers, they don't have that hesitation anymore to turn someone.
Right, because they've already dished one out.
Yeah, because they already used it.
Yeah. Yeah, Gotte, what was your feelings about the reffing and the terms?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit of a contrarian here, but it was better. But the way it's been before has been absolutely horrendous, and I still think it's bad. To be honest, I still think the refereeing in general is pretty bad. I saw the refereeing statistics today as well, and more than 50% of all players have been in like around 10 games each and given out 0 warnings, all in all. Something around 50% of all people have like been in 10 games, haven't given a single warning. Something's going on there. That's across all teams as well. I think every single team has one player who hasn't given out a single warning. And I mean, speaking from experience as well, I very much sympathize. I've been in tournaments where I've ref plenty of games without giving out a single warning. I think this tournament was the one where I was the most active as a ref. I gave out like 6 in 12, so one every other game, which still isn't too much. And I think for the amount of issues which I see in the arena when I play and the amount of warnings given, I still think there's a huge discrepancy, and I don't know what's the best way to deal with it is, but I think that people really need to like start talking themselves into like we need to give more terminations as well. And I know people are afraid of controversy. People are afraid that these people are going to be refereeing me later, so I don't want them to get angry with me. I very much know that mentality myself. But I think like people shouldn't be that afraid, and if we have controversies after, then that's not necessarily a good thing itself. But if we never have a team complaining about getting wrongful warnings or terminations, then the refereeing level is probably far too low. That's what I think.
No, I think that's definitely a fair assessment. But I think at the very least, it's looking like an upwards trajectory.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was at 3 times the number of terms from previous years, right? So, if you keep following that trend, you're going to be in a pretty good place by the end of it.
One thing I've thought about the like having for refs, if you could have like a tablet or the mock or whatever it is, and if you could give like terms in a way that you just have to like you press like blue team this player and just give term and then you push the reason, I think that would like make reffing a lot easier as well, because then you don't have to like track down the player and all that. People could just like tap and then it's a term.
Like it's all after games.
No, like you put it in from the tablet, and the vest would like to take the termination itself.
You have some guy that's had a bad day, and they just go like,
yeah. That's obviously something that like isn't gonna happen, but that would be nice. I think that would like I would love it, because like when there's situations when I see like one person cheat and then the other person cheats right after, I'm like, whatever, just 1 for 1 and
fair game.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you see 2 people come around the corner, they both arm each other at the same time. You're like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give a term for that. Like I might, like if it's like kind of quiet, but if there's like 8 people around the base, I'm not gonna like run after them and all that, because it's like 1 for 1.
Yeah, I think the only thing with that tablet thing. Oh, you go.
Sorry. No, but that's also sort of an issue because there's a third team in there as well, So if you have 2 teams who are like arming a lot, and you're like, whatever they're doing to each other, there's a third team as well, which might be getting the
You fucking asshole, hacker! Yeah. You asshole!
I know that it's not correct, but like I can admit that that's what I do.
Good man. I like an honest man. That's good. I think
I'm not gonna say I didn't apply that logic several times as well, because I did.
Yeah.
yeah, so
No, 100%. It happens. Any other things that people want to kind of highlight or mention or talk about for the tournament as a whole before we get into the
Moomin's comment, like that's what I want as well. Yeah, that's a better idea of like what I said. That the ref has his own pack and he can just shoot shoot the terms.
Yeah, right. It'd be all good if you miss. You know, or like, I mean, H Pro, like you hit like a bunch of people with one shot. That'd be funny. That'd be cool though. Sure thing. And what happens if something happens if you shoot a ref? You get termed for shooting a ref as well. It just deact, or just if like you shoot a ref, it just deacts your back or something like this. That'd be funny.
Or you get extra points.
Extra points. That'd be interesting. Trust.
negative points, just minus 250.
Minus 250 for shooting a ref. Fair enough. Amazing. Is there any other things you guys want to talk about or highlight about the tournament before we? Oh, what the? Just screen just turn off.
Yeah, my screen's
Very dark in Finland.
Yeah, I can't say the same about sunny Australia, but cool. I think with that we've already been yapping for 45 minutes. Let's talk about the teams a bit. Allow me to share my screen. Bear with me. Slideshow. The slideshow is pretty simple this year. I wasn't able to get like nice like solo ladder stats that like with like the bases and denies for, denies against, and tag ratios and stuff like this. So I didn't bother with it. What am I doing? That's what I'm doing. Bon, but at least it's something for us to look at. Amazing. Excuse me. Without further ado, boom. In 18th place this year, we had Suicide Squad. They were 2 positions down from their predictions, and we had Kamikaze, Glassman, Barilla, Kvasabo, Kaz, and Fluff. Yeah. Did any of you guys have much insight to provide in terms of how Suicide Squad was playing as a team and maybe some things that they could improve on?
I know Cass is their in-game leader. I think I can mention as well that I played Worlds in 2009 with Kvasabo, Cass, and Barilla. And that was also the last time I saw them before this tournament. So that was like 15 years since I saw them last time. They obviously haven't been playing a lot since then. But they're all veterans. They know how the game works. The other 3 players are sort of like newer Gothenburg players, which I haven't really played with. I remember them beginning playing sort of around the same time as I stopped playing. So I don't know a lot about them. But it's very much a team of 2 halves with Cass trying to lead the way. I know our team, out of like the teams represented here on the stream, played against the Suicide Squad the most. But I also set out like I think all of those except one.
So okay.
I don't have much recollection of it, like exactly how they were playing. I think they played with pretty good defense, but I think they were lacking a lot in attack, which is why they finished last, I think.
Yeah.
I can remember the first like elimination game in System D. I was refereeing those 3 games, and it felt like they were a little bit disjointed in their attacking formations. It wasn't necessarily like 1-on-1 coming and attacking, but like you had Cass coming up, scattering around a bit, trying to have a look. Is the space available? Can we take this? Going away maybe for a little while, coming back with 1 more player, and maybe the situation was changed.
Yeah.
They couldn't take it, or they couldn't get in, like they couldn't break the defense. So I think that Cass was running Suicide Squad for sure. And then exactly how they played, I don't know, but I think they were lacking mainly in like their ability to break bases in the end.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I hope, yeah.
Did Hacker or Domi? I know you probably wouldn't have played Suicide Squad, but did you ref any games and notice anything at all, or have any other insight? You don't have to make something up either.
One game I refed that I remember them from, and the only thing that I remember from it was that I was refing a dumped base, and they cycled it pretty well. That's all I can remember, like structured cycling, and people weren't just like randomly running around. So that's one thing I can remember from that thing.
Yeah,
I didn't play or ref them, so I'm gonna be honest, I don't have any recollection of them.
That's cool. And I'd rather you be honest than make something up, make up some absolute bullshit. Yeah, cool. I think maybe commenting on their like struggling with attack. I think I know at least for my team, whenever we tried to do just like a straight up like a 2-player attack, it was really difficult. It felt like the kind of arena where you had to really pick your moments well of when you attacked, or you had to go with like more numbers, like a third person or something, to really break through the defenses. That's what my experience was, so that can maybe be playing into what their experience was as well. But outside of that, does anyone have any final thoughts or things to say about the old Suicide Squad? Cool to see some old veteran players coming back for a tournament. I think that's super dope.
Yeah, I still think they played like good and nice and very clean laser tag overall, but maybe suffered a bit from being a team of two halves without any real experience of playing together. The other teams right above them, I don't think that they were necessarily worse than them, but they were probably not together as much as a team as those teams were.
Sure. Yeah. Anything else, gentlemen? No. No worries.
No.
Well, yeah. Suicide Squad, 18th. We'll move on. 17th place, we had the Blazing Bullets, up 1 from predictions. We had Mindy, Firebird, Mrs. Turtle, Umbra, and Pastilli. Pardon me. Who wants to? Yeah, same thing. Like, any observations on how this team played, whether from playing them or from like reffing them potentially, or any just things you noticed? Cricket.
I don't think I don't recall like anything. I didn't play them, and I might have refed them, but nothing comes to mind really.
Domi, same for you?
Yeah, same for me, sadly.
Yep, Gotte, you're gonna clutch up for us once again.
I'm gonna try.
Good man.
Yeah, I played them a few times. They're definitely one of those like slower and more methodical teams. I get the sense that they play pretty well together, all 5 of them. But they're probably lacking a lot in aggression and also attacking. I can remember a few times like I played that the base wasn't necessarily the easiest to break down, but I also think like we never really felt threatened that they were going to take our base either.
Sure.
So, and they're also the sort of team, like a lot of teams in the lower 5 teams, they had like 1 or 2 players which could go out into the arena, scout a lot, and pack a lot of points. And I think that they sort of lack that player type to sort of complement them. I think they have a lot of very similar player types of like the little slower, static, more methodical players who play good strategic arena game, but they didn't really have anyone who could make something happen out of nothing.
No explosive players. Yeah. No, that's fair. Moomins highlighted that he reckons the Blazing Bullets did a much better tournament than previous ones, so kudos to them for that. Obviously, I mean, they're up 1 from predictions as well, so that's got to be happy with that. Are these players like the parents of some of the younger players that were at the tournament?
I think some of them are like parents of the 8 kids.
Okay,
Or
cool.
kids, they're like almost adults now, but
yeah. No, that's cool. I think good on them for making it out and still playing. Have they been playing? Are they players that have played for a long time, or are they just like parents that like their kids got into it, so they're like, oh, I'll play a little bit as well?
they've had this kind of team for at least 2 years,
Okay.
from what I recall. Even some of them maybe even longer than that.
Yeah.
So they've played a while. Not
Yeah, cool.
particularly together, but at least like 2 of them, 3 of them.
Yeah, sure. Cool. Well, we're not just going to make up stuff about teams. So does anyone have anything else to say about the Blazing Bullets before we move on? Nope. Happy days. All right. Well, congrats to the Blazing Bullets from being up one from predictions, and we'll move along. 16th, we have Laser Dogs, the Latvian guys. They were down 1 from predictions. We have Viskis, Moisha, Indrico, Slip, and Tezix. One thing I'll say was I was in the site. I was on site, probably about as far away from the pack room as you could be, and like the scoreboard as you could be, when they came out and they got their first second place of the tournament, because I think they were on a pretty massive loss streak. They come out, they either was second or they their first win of the tournament. It was one of those two, and oh my goodness, was it loud! These guys celebrated it was one of the loudest celebrations I think I've ever heard. I've seen people win a grand final, make it into a grand final, maybe their first time, and they're like, "Yeah, sick, that was pretty cool," And I think it was super, super cool to see these guys so excited and so hyped about getting that win. So it just speaks to the passion of these guys. Obviously, they play laser tag, but they play on a completely different system. It's more of like a tactical based thing. The fields, as far as I'm aware, look a little bit more like airsoft or like paintball fields. Yeah. So it's just super cool to see that amount of passion and excitement coming out of players playing laser tag. So it was very loud, but it was very refreshing and very funny and very wholesome.
Yeah, I remember that as well, because I was in the pinball room and I could hear it as well.
Yeah, exactly. No, cool. Well, other than that, same thing. How did the Laser Dog team play? If you have any things to note, I have a little something, but we'll let someone else go first. Gotte, you might be clutching up once again.
Yeah, I think Laser Dog was one of the more interesting teams. I don't know that I've seen a team improve so much over one tournament before. I remember the first couple of times watching their games on the stream in the lobby and being like, oh well, at least now that they've got a base, they're no longer on minus points. And that was the upside.
Yeah,
but they improved a lot, and they adapted to the game. You could tell that they learned how to begin to use the walls, how to use the arena in a different way. I also remember seeing one of them attacking a base. I think it was maybe against Blazing Bullets, and he was waiting for the right left call in finish, and obviously that was big finish.
well, that's cool.
But he was ready for the call. He realized now she has called right, and he went left, and easy base for them.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I think they played and I think they also played a very balanced game between attacking and defending. I don't feel like they were primarily focused on either. They learned to adapt to the tactics of a 3-team game as well, really well. And they also had a very interesting whistling strategy, which became a little bit controversial in the end. When they were whistling, one of the guys had a very rare talent. I don't know if you heard it.
I heard it. This is what I was going to talk about.
You weren't on the site at all if you didn't hear that, because it was like a police siren or something going off. Like we were wondering what was wrong, and the little children in Suicide Squad, they were like covering their ears because it was so loud. And then they were told, "Okay, guys, no more whistling."
Oh, really? They were told not to whistle.
Yeah, they were told no more whistling, and we
What?
had to have it became a whole little thing there in the in that 3 series. But
Also, it happened. It happened during the series that they were told they're not allowed to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Was it an elimination game?
Yeah, it was. I think it was the first elimination game, so they were really pumped up and like ready to go. Like they were.
Yeah.
They were going and they were screaming, shouting, and whistling really loud and running everywhere. And it was some very chaotic, but also interesting and funny games to watch as a referee.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually what I was going to talk about. Is there was a time like I'm reffing like the red base, and one of the I can't remember who it was, but one of the Laser Dog players was attacking the red base, or maybe even two of them, and they were their team. They were blue, and I'm just standing there, and then I hear this whistle, and I was like, "The fuck was that?" And then I see like the Laser Dog players, they like run home. They went back, and I was like, wait, that's actually so cool. That's super cool. What the hell? But yeah, it was an impressive whistle. So what happened?
Loud.
What happened? Was it like people were worried about like pack masking or something like this, like it going over the sound of the packs or something, or what was people's issue with the whistle?
Yeah,
I thought it was dope as hell.
I think that the the official reasoning was pack masking. But I mean, I was a referee. I think this was the same game. I was a referee at Blue. Blue is where he whistled, and it was loud enough to like, especially when you have children in there with less developed hearing, you could actually be like reasonably concerned about whistling at such a high level, so loud. You could actually be concerned about that being damaging to someone's hearing. So.
That's so impressive. That's because crazy.
Because I think that Bambi has used like for Federkin, I think Bambi has used whistling for some tournaments, but it hasn't been nearly that loud. And I also don't think it needs to be that loud. Like one of the clear advantages with whistling is that you get it at a much higher pitch, so it doesn't get as much like sound interference from shouting.
It cuts through everything.
Yeah. So it doesn't need to be that loud.
Sure. Well, hopefully they can like fiddle with their like the volume on their whistling, and they can like make it to the point where they can still use it, because I think that is super cool, super dope.
Yeah.
Did Hacker or Domi, did you hear the whistle ever?
I don't think so. No.
You were at home sleeping.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Probably.
But I also think that they didn't only have like one type of whistling. I think they had like 2 or 3 different signals.
They have a whole language.
I don't know what they were, but like they had.
Well, that's really cool.
There was a difference there. It was a system.
That's
Imagine they have like one for attack, one for defense. Like
yeah. That's so cool, man. That's so cool. Whistles. Well, does anyone else have something to say about Laser Dog?
Yeah, I'm just happy to see them rise the ranks up, because I remember the first tournament in Nuremberg, and they like I don't remember this scream that you guys talked about, but I remember the scream in Nuremberg after they got the second place, and it was crazy. Whole arena was hearing it. Yeah.
Good guys. That's so funny. Cool. Hacker, you got nothing?
It's great that they returned, and like I hope to see them again, and just like have them keep on playing these tournaments in the EU, and have Latvia as a stable country in the EU nationals. And hopefully they'll get zone there, and we can have a Latvia national someday.
That'd be kind of cool, kind of dope. You get there and there's like a few Latvian teams, and they're all fucking whistling. Crazy stuff, man. Alrighty. if there's nothing else to say about Laserdog, we'll move on. But yeah, I had the same narrative from a lot of people. Obviously, down 1 from predictions, but everyone I spoke to was still very impressed by how much they've improved from previous tournaments to this one, and even how much they improved over the course of just this tournament as well. So big kudos to them for that. Moving on, 15th place, we have Laser Power. Up 2 from predictions. We have T-Rex, Laser Pro, Pessy, Mikey, Master Lindy, and Master Boy. Who is this? The Austrians. Yeah, cool. Who wants to get us started?
I can go first because Laser Power for me was the team that what got the set from Laser Dog. Like you could, from the first game they played to the last game they played, it was just night and day. Like it felt like the first games that I refed, it looked like they were just like they had the gun in their hands for the first time, which is kind of expected because they're playing. So maybe for the first time, I don't know. I don't really know, but that's what it looked like. And then some of the Cascade 2 games I might have ref from them, or some of the later games, it looked so different. It looked like they were like actually playing, and they developed some strategies, and they got a lot better throughout the tournament. And like getting 15th when you're playing your first tournament. I think Mikey was the French guy who kind of backed up. Yeah,
Mikey and T-Rex were French.
Oh yeah, T-Rex as well. They probably helped out a lot to like improve the team throughout the tournament and all that. So I really liked watching them evolve throughout the tournament.
Yep, super cool. Anyone else got some observations about Laser Power?
Yeah, I think as Hacker already mentioned, Mikey, he was a really good player for them. I think was really impressed with how he played. He had that. He was that player type, which Blazing Bullet was missing. Really, he could make something happen on his own.
Yeah,
he went out into the arena and he scored a lot of points all the time. And I remember finding it difficult in like the arena duels with him many times. Laser Power overall, I think maybe a quieter version of Laser Dog. They adapted well. They like Hacker said, it was a big difference between first game and last game. Very, very big difference. And I think they learned to play a pretty methodical game, and they did well.
Amazing. Domi, did you have any observations or same story?
Yeah, pretty much same story. I agree with you guys with Mikey. I saw, like you said, Blazing Bullets was missing exactly that player type. And I think they came before the tournament like 2 months ago, one time to us, to Nuremberg, but I don't know who exactly, because I wasn't there that day. But I know that they came to us and to train one time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, is there any other observations on how they were playing as a team or anything like this? No worries. You guys having?
No. I choked. I don't have anything.
I joked. Good man. Alrighty. Yeah. Congrats to Laser Power, the Austrian French team, for having a like these guys were saying, like improving so much over the course of the tournament and being up 2 spots from predictions. So kudos there, and you got a shout out from Moomin as well for Mikey. Someone said Holmes in the chat and then spoke a language that I don't understand. So I'm going to assume they were talking smack.
He asked if you have just woken up, or why do you look so shaken?
So shaken. That's funny. I did wake up like an hour and a bit ago. and I was meant to have breakfast, and then I realized I have no food in my house because I've already eaten all of my Christmas leftovers. So I had a coffee for breakfast, and that was it. So I'm feeling a bit,
Yeah,
I need
don't
some
worry, I'm gonna
sustenance.
snitch out all the Finnish that they're speaking.
All right, sick. Thanks. I see Holmes in like a bunch of words I don't know. I was like, oh my god, what are they saying about me? Okay. Moving on. 14th place, we have Hyper Mode. Down 1 from predictions, we have Mark, Rikiki, Lenny, Marlin, and Collie. Domi, did you maybe want to talk about these guys first? Since Hypermode is another Nuremberg team, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
sure.
Oh.
Yeah, true. So that's the only other Nuremberg team that we got, and I was sad to see them at 14th place. Like for me, I would have hoped like for 12th, 11th maybe. But yeah, I think they had some issues like with communication and like other stuff that when they all weren't on the same page, like on a lot of games. Yeah, I don't know, and also like I would have thought like maybe because Boris is like the first time playing there, so I would have thought like on the second day or third day they would have improved.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen that. So like we also tried to give them some tips, like talk about the tactic and stuff. But yeah, maybe it was like first. Also, they played for the first time at in this constellation, so maybe it's all these things together that like made it so they ended up 14th. Yeah. I'm just sad, really.
I'm just sad.
Sad inside.
Hacker and Gotte, do you have any observations about how this team played?
The only thing that I remember from Hyper Mode was that one round robin Elim game where we played against TD and them, and we just kind of got left into a Nuremberg sandwich and got eliminated. That's the only thing I can kind of remember.
It happens. Gotte, did you verse this team much?
Yeah, quite a lot of times, but I think Domi said like the most insightful things probably to be said about them. Have a really hard time like putting my finger on anything specific that they did. I don't feel like they did anything particularly bad, but I don't feel like they did anything particularly great either.
Yeah, sure.
So there's probably some truth about them being a little bit disjointed, not getting the communication together. Only thing I would like to add is like an individual shout out to Lenny, who played a great individual game. Was probably the top scorer for the most. Did a lot of work, but then I don't know how that fed back into the team at all times.
Yeah, someone's saying in the chat that he topped the comp ladder for average score. So he was obviously shooting a lot of people, but yeah, like you said, that doesn't always translate to like or representative of what the whole team's doing or how the team's doing. So I was going to say something, but it's slipped my mind. Yeah, no idea. Amazing. I got the opportunity to train in Nuremberg a few days before the tournament. TD guys organized that, which was super cool. Thank you guys. And if I'm not mistaken, Lenny, Hikiki, and Collie were there. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't. Maybe Marlin was there as well, but yeah, it was cool to get to train against them, and they're all solid pack on pack. Lenny especially was super impressive for me. I couldn't like slack off in any of my duels I had against him. He had some good moves, so him getting playing as well as he did individually is not at all surprising to me after playing that training in Nuremberg. So
yeah,
moments. Oh, you go. Yeah, you go.
Yeah, like Moomin said, the attackers never came home at times when I arrived. So I also saw that like they would do a bunch of like they would lose a base or two at max, and then they would just instantly dump. So like 80% of the games were like dumps from the get-go because of 1 or 2 lost bases. So they would put them at an instant.
Yeah, that's not
I
a
don't
good
know.
spot to be in.
It's tough.
It's a recipe for losing a lot of games.
Yeah.
Well, and does anyone have any last things to say about hyper mode? Nope. Alrighty. Well, yep. Hyper mode down 1 from predictions. We see this roster back. Hopefully they can improve on that. They obviously know what they struggle with, so hopefully they can improve on that. Come back to the next tournament, all the better for it. 13th place, Gotte, we have you. Taggers, down 1 from predictions. We have Spawn, Bouncer, Gotte, Mia Maria, Alita, and Lucifer. Gotte, did you want to start talking about your team, or do you want to hear if anyone else has something to say first?
Let's let the other players talk first, and then I can tell them why they're wrong.
All right, amazing. Hacker and Domi, did you have the opportunity to verse Tigers ever or ref any games and have any insight? Don't have to lie.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
I can remember like a moment or two from reffing, and those were some like weird games where there was a lot of dumps happening, and I kind of felt that Tigers, they got a bit disjointed. Like not everyone knew where like they were supposed to be and what was like supposed to be going on. So they were kind of here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But in this game that I'm remembering, I think they won the. You guys won the game and you pulled it together like after the first bit of a fiasco that you had in the early game. But that's kind of the only thing I can remember.
Fiasco. How good of a word is fiasco? I love that.
Really good. Yeah.
I haven't used that in a while. I'm gonna add that to my vocab. Gotte, what insight can you provide on what was happening with the team, how you guys played, and maybe some things you're gonna look to improve on going forward?
Yeah, so I think I have a lot to say really. I probably shouldn't say everything, but the things I would want to preface with is we lost our captain, Skip. He was out with pneumonia a week before, so he couldn't play. I think with that in mind, we would have been predicted maybe a little bit lower even. I think if you compare our like individual player rankings on the Sinks list with how we performed and with the teams which we were most competitive with, I think we were much closer to 12th and 11th than to 14th or anything below us. I think with that in consideration, I think we overperformed, if anything, even if it's just -1 on predictions. So
yeah, because I think the predictions was with Skip in mind, from memory.
Yeah, and that would have made a lot of difference because me and Skip have played a long time together as well. We played together for more than 15 years. Although we both had like long breaks, we know each other since way back, and we have really good chemistry together. So that would have made a world of difference, especially as I now have to take on like the in-game leader role, the tactics role, and I haven't played for 2 years. I needed to get my game back on track as well. And I didn't always spend as much time directing my team in the ways necessary. And I think that's also why we became quite disjointed. So my strategic idea for how we were to play in the beginning was like, we need to start with the basics. So we need to learn how do we defend here against the teams which we are trying to beat, which are the teams which placed slightly above us. How do we have a strong enough base defense where we can say, no, you're not taking our base?
Yeah.
Because if we can't do that, the rest doesn't really matter. We're gonna get stomped over 3 games. We can get lucky, win 1, but we can't win 3. We can't be the best team over 3 games. So the other guys, they had to play a lot in a 4-man defense, and I went out a little bit further into the arena. One time we maybe moved one or 2 players up a little bit more. I tried to be vocal as well with my team to like dare to push up into the arena. Like when you don't have anyone attacking like close to us, push up, have something to shoot at. And I think we became a little bit too passive in our
Sure.
defense to get the pack points that we needed. I think I think eventually I started doing a very good job outside in the arena. I didn't in the beginning, but I started breaking a lot of bases, especially against like the lower teams. I started breaking bases on my own, scoring quite a lot of packs, but it was difficult because I'm not like, even if I have experience from Federkin with like leading tactics and that, I struggle in the sort of leadership role where I move players in certain directions. I don't want to be the player who moves around people and tells them exactly what to do. I work a little bit better with more abstract like instructions.
Yeah.
But I think everyone in the team did well, and I think like our biggest struggles were probably what Hacker was alluding to earlier with being a bit disjointed, and this happened in the later stages of the game, especially when we were trying to attack, and we hadn't spoken about that enough, and that's also partly my fault. We hadn't really set up any good ways and strategies of breaking bases when they were heavily defended.
Yes.
We had good ideas of how to progress our game overall, but if things started to become chaotic, I think we suffered more than any other team, like around our level. That's when we really lost ourselves, because I don't think we had any real strong duelists in our team. We all like to move around a lot and not be particularly static. But when we need to break a base which is heavily defended, we couldn't really do that. And I think that's in the end where we fell as a team, was we need to get this base now, and it's heavily defended, and we just couldn't get through. Even when we got players in, we got a little bit too hesitant. We didn't dare to shoot the base early enough, asking for permission from the outside. Is it clear?
Yeah.
And in the time you're asking that, well, it's no longer clear.
The window's closed.
And I think we missed out on bases on hesitation, and we weren't strong enough in breaking the bases. I think that's our biggest fault. I think the defense was good in the end, and I think people knew their roles in the defense really well, and they executed them well. I also want to give a shout out to Eliter, who, when she got to play a little bit of a free game, more free flowing in the arena, she played really well. She packed a lot of points. Like, she came up with like over 7K one game in just packs. That was fantastic to see, and she will become a great player if she keeps playing like this. Bouncer also did a great job with having like a leadership role as a captain and bringing everything together. So I think everyone did well, and I don't really want to fault anyone with anything, except maybe myself on a few small points. But I have
Good
my
man.
excuses as well.
No, that's super cool. I think, yeah, given everything you talked about with like missing your normal captain, and stuff like this, yeah, I would say that, yeah, 13th is like a, yeah. I hope you guys are happy with that, given the circumstances and stuff. Yeah, I guess the only thing I can comment on is yeah, my simple system for, because you're talking about how like the defense was strong, but maybe like the whole team not like pack pointing enough. My little system in my head for that I like teach to newer players, or that I use myself, is if I'm a defender and no one's attacking, I go as far up like in like the direction of my door as I can, where no one can sneak past me. Right? And then this is what that position is, what I call like my reset point, where if I'm here and I'm actually have my eyes open, no one can sneak past me without them seeing. From that spot, you can maybe get a couple tags, but it's generally like, it's not a lot. But what you can do once you have a clearly defined reset point is you can go, okay, do I see anyone? No. Then you can run a few extra steps for like 3 to 5 seconds. That's where you get a lot of tags. But the thing is you can't overstay your welcome there, because you're going past that reset point. So now there's an opportunity for someone to sneak past you. So you reset point, no one, cool. Take those few extra steps, those 2 extra panels, and suddenly you're getting a lot of tags, but you don't overstay your welcome. Like 3 to 5 seconds, and then you come straight back, and then you can just kind of like continue that loop. And that's a really great way of increasing the number of tags by like a pretty substantial amount, I would say. So that's the only insight, well, not less insight, but like advice I can give to to the players that were maybe struggling with that a little bit. But yeah, does anyone have any last thoughts on the taggers? Nah, cool. Down 1 from predictions, but that was given different circumstances. So I think, yeah, congratulations on making the 13th place. And yeah, we'll move on. 6 cents down 3 from predictions due to a forfeit. Now this was this whole situation was crazy. So there was an elimination game on the second to last day, like the night time, because that's when the System D started. 6 cents were crushing it, doing super well, and in their elimination game against, I believe, Trash Pandas and who was the other team? Was it you? It was you?
Tigers, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So 6 cents have done like extremely well. They won the game, and then they realize, oh crikey, our flight is at 12:30 tomorrow, so we can't even play our games. So they've forfeited the position, which actually gave it to taggers who were in the second place for the series. But then there was, if I'm not mistaken, an after game termination, which pushed taggers down a position, and then that allowed Trash Pandas to continue, even though they came third in the series. Is that right? Have I got that right, Gotte?
Yeah, that's exactly how it went down.
That is the craziest
I wasn't
shit
lying
I ever heard.
I wasn't lying when I was saying it was close up, much closer upwards for us than down.
Yeah, dude.
It was like 400 or 600 points in it, and yeah, I wasn't very happy about that.
No, naturally,
to say the least.
Yeah, in hindsight, that is the craziest turn of events I've ever seen in an elimination series.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. But yeah, 6 cents down 3 from predictions. Definitely could have been higher, but Gotte or Domi, do you maybe want to get us started talking about 6 cents? I'm going to apologize. I was trying to hold it, but I really need to go to the toilet. So I'm going to go.
Yeah, I'll go as well at the same time.
Oh my God.
Go.
All right, you two get started. Have a little talk about 6 cents. I'll be like 30 seconds to a minute. My deepest of apologies.
Watch them be away for 10 minutes.
All right. Stream is ours. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking with them like the night before, and they were thinking like, what if we came first in the next LM series for the next day, and they didn't know what to do. But then in the early morning, they decided to just take the flight, because it would have cost like a bunch of money to book new flights, even if they came through. So yeah, I don't know. It was, the planning was lacking. So
yeah, I'm guessing that's their main lesson is plan your flights better.
Yeah, true.
Don't fly home in the middle of the tournament.
Yeah, I'm curious like where they would have ended up, but now we don't know. We will never know.
Yeah. I think they would have had the ability to climb a couple of more positions, because I felt in those last games that we played against them, there was it was a little bit crazy. It wasn't like they weren't trying, but we could sort of tell that something is a little bit off here in like how things are going down. And the tactics became, especially end game and especially third game, things were really weird, and I was struggling to read the game. Like, why are the teams doing what they are doing? Usually that can be like a big issue when you play teams which are very new and inexperienced, but we played against 2 experienced teams, and you sort of expect another standard of like tactical awareness, and you weren't experiencing that, and you were sort of like, what is happening? So that was a little bit strange. And that's also not colored my perception of that tournament, because this was 3 out of 4 games I think that I played against Sixtens overall, and they were all very strange games, these 3 games. But I think there's a lot of quality on that team, really.
Yeah, I agree.
So they could have done better than they did. and they also did better than they did as a forfeit, you know.
They did better than they did.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys have said already, but I also so I was in Germany for a week before I was at SweNats, and the first night after I'd been on like 24 hours of flights, I went and did a training with I wasn't all of them, but some of the Sixth Sense guys in Frankfurt, and yeah, even then I was already like impressed by these players. Like they're dueling, they're just like mechanical skills. And XP Walker really stood out to me. Like he's definitely, we've been talking previously about teams maybe missing that explosive player that can make something out of nothing. He was extremely impressive. I remember reffing one game. He was by himself. I think he soloed the base, and then he's just staying in there holding out another team. And he's got like 2 or 3 defenders trying to lunge him out, and like 1 or 2 attackers trying to get him out. And he was inside the base for like a solid 30, 45 seconds. So extremely impressive player. And yeah, as we said, they definitely did better than they did. So it was a shame to see them have to forfeit, but I guess that's what they get for being silly geezers that book flights at 12:30 the next day. Hacker, have you said anything yet? Have you given
I
your
haven't.
5 cents? All right.
I think because XP Walker has missed quite a few tournaments. I remember he played 2022 in Germany, but I don't remember him playing with these guys after that, maybe in Germany. But I think he really brought like more lethality to their attack and brought in a lot of field points as well, and like really made their like attack like really strong. So I think that was like a really good addition. And as someone said, he's their captain, and obviously having your captain, your in-game leader, like makes a bit of a difference. So yeah, I think they could have done really well here if they hadn't booked their flights at 12 p.m. for some reason.
Silly gazers. Domi and Gotte, have you said everything you wanted to say already about Sixth Sense?
Yeah, I just wanted to say one last thing. Like if I compare this Sixth Sense to the last SweNats or maybe even Journats, like with XP Walker, I think you can see a clear difference because I knew they always like were really good pack on pack, but somehow they couldn't like show it in a tournament like last year SweNats, the year before, and I think this year I really saw a difference in that sense. So yeah, maybe we will see the true potential next year. Like we would have seen it this year, but because of the flight we did, so maybe next year.
Crazy shit, man. Cool. Gotte, have you got any last things you want to say?
No, not really. We're good.
We're good.
They played well. A little bit chaotic in the last 3 games against us, but I think they played really well. And maybe I think as well, my memories from them from earlier years, because it's like 2 years now since I played against them, is that my intuition said, I didn't look at the predictions before, but my intuition said like, oh, maybe we can beat these guys. But I think if they actually played 100%, which I don't think they were in the last 3 games, I don't think we would have been even close, to be honest.
No, cool. Humble man right there. Fantastic. Well, congrats to Sixth Sense on having a great tournament. Hopefully next time, we book our flights at an appropriate time and we get to see a full tournament from you guys. But fantastic. Moving on, 11th place, we have Trash Pandas. I accidentally copy-pasted the forfeit is not meant to be there. Let me fix that. There we go. Oh, there we go. Jeez, stream moment. Fantastic. All right, Trash Pandas. Down 2 from predictions. We had Renegade, Gimpy, Phoenix, Bob, Jonas, and Snip My Nips, which is a fantastic alias still. Cool. Yeah, as we said, this was the team that kind of benefited from the craziness that was the last elimination series of the Saturday night. Yeah. Gotte, do you maybe want to get us started talking about Trash Pandas?
Sure. We had a lot of run-ins with Trash Pandas. I think them and Sunday Kebab were like some of our most enjoyable games, where we felt like we have really good opposition, and it's also a position which we can beat. And I'm still a little bit bitter because I think we won basically every game against them in the group stage, and then we went out on a post-game termination in the elimination rounds. But I think that overall they played a really strong like man-to-man game. I think their defense in the beginning was not organized well enough. Even in like the beginning of the System D, I think their defense, and I spoke with Jonas about this as well. Like, and I was like asking him, well, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what's happening? How are you losing? You're basically defending the whole team, and you're losing your bases to 2 Stockholm players all the time. And I think they felt that as well. Like they weren't like strong enough in, especially like their base defense. It was going down far too easily with how much they were committing to it. And I think also that's why they sort of like fell down pretty far down, further down in the bracket, like in the elimination rounds than they should have, and people thought that they would. But I also think that they did get it together much better towards the end, and they played really solid games. And I mean, as the score indicates, between us and them, it was really a toss-up. Like it was so little in it, and it was really tight and fun games, and I enjoyed playing a lot against all of them. Like they're great guys. They're really fun to play against.
Yeah, I think that strong man-on-man thing is what we come to expect from these US guys. I mean, having played the US Nationals myself, yeah, they're all super, super capable in one-on-one duels. They've got some sick dodges, and they're fun to watch, fun to play against. But yeah, I noticed the same thing where I don't think, or maybe we played them once right at the start, I think. But I would agree that they looked like reffing, like super unorganized for most of the tournament. I remember seeing a game where they'd decided, at the start, that they were going to dump right from the start. And I was like, all right. And then they dumped to the base I was reffing, the green base, and they got absolutely reamed for like a good minute. And then suddenly, like without any communication, like players just started randomly. They just started like disappearing, and all of a sudden there was like one person there, and they're like, "Where's my team?" And it was just zero communication. Everyone just, and then they just played solos for like 9 minutes. That was wild. I think Merman was saying, and you were saying, they did start to actually figure out what they wanted to do by the end of it. But yeah, watching those initial games was it was interesting to say the least. But I'm glad they were able to kind of like start to sort their stuff out by the end of the tournament. Hacker and Domi, did you have anything to say about the Trash Pandas, US guys plus Jonas?
I don't really have anything to like anything more than what you guys said. Unorganized is the kind of the key word here. That was kind of like their biggest weakness, I think, from what I saw.
Domi?
Yeah, same as Hacker said, and maybe like maybe they were missing also a player that's like packing a bit more. I know they have like Phoenix who's making points and stuff, but I think they're missing like Odin or like maybe even Skywalker or something. I don't know, because like on paper, I was predicting them, and I would have like I predicted them higher than that, so I was surprised to see them that low.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I see, they had Phoenix was actually a late addition, and he was putting in a lot of work, putting in a lot of effort. But actually, it was Bob who said it in the chat that people had too many ideas instead of following the plan. Which, yeah, you're much better having 5 people in a game following the same awful plan than 5 individual players all having the best plan ever, but like following it separately. You're much better off doing it as a cohesive unit and everyone being on the same page. So, definitely a fair assessment there. Yeah, I have nothing else to add. Does anyone else have something to say about the old trash pandas?
Nope.
No. Fantastic. Well, yeah. Trash Pandas down from 2 from predictions. Won the lottery with that crazy turn of events. It's so funny to me. So funny. Obviously, I would feel differently if I was in in that series, and I was in Gotte's shoes, for instance, with the aftergame term. I'd be pretty sad about it as well. But for me, super funny. Super funny. Alrighty. Moving on. In the top 10 now, we have Empire down 1 from predictions. We have Smork, Urzu, Jonsson, Adama, and P3. Who wants to get us started talking about Empire? Any takers?
I mean, we from the Cascade one kind of bit of a drop that we intentionally did, like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
We got to play these guys one game, but that was a bit of a weird one because they kind of gave up on even trying to beat us, and they only played for second place.
Right.
So
yeah, okay.
So it was a bit of a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to really take from that, but
yep.
That's all I got from there.
Mm-hmm. Domi and Gotte, was there any observations from playing them or from reffing them potentially, in terms of how they played maybe?
Yeah, we played them, I think. And what I got from the games was that they're really structured and that they're really good pack on pack and all in all a really solid team. So that's my impression, what I got. That when I try to do points or we try to attack, they have that really solid structure where it's really tough to break the base. Or tougher than expected, I guess.
Yeah. I think I'm just looking at the Team Elim. I feel like they did quite well in Team. Yeah, they got 7th in Team Elim. So I think that kind of speaks to their strong pack on pack ability. Because I think that's pretty important in elimination, obviously. So
I actually got another thing.
Yep.
From what Domi said, them being good on pack and them being structured. Yeah, I agree with that. The thing that I kind of now got was, just came up to my mind, was that they couldn't do 2 things at a time. They either defended, and they defended pretty well, or then they attacked and then actually got some bases, but then they couldn't defend and attack at the same time. So they did either or, from what I can gather.
Yeah, that actually kind of checks out with what I saw as well. Now you mentioned, I noticed the same thing. Quite often, when you saw Empire players, you saw the Empire team. You saw all of them defending, or all of them had gone attacking. That happened quite often when I was reffing, I think. So yeah, an interesting observation. Gotte, did you have anything to add?
We only played them one time, I think, in comp, and it was a game which I felt that we should have won. We kind of had it. We didn't execute it towards the end good enough, I think.
Sure.
I agree with the assessment that they're a very strongly organized team, tough defense to crack, strong pack on pack players. But I also want to, and without throwing too much shade, I think, especially in that game that I played against them, maybe it was like a lot of bad coincidences, but I shot a lot of arms. And I know I was very loud about that towards the end of that game as well, in a way which maybe wasn't too nice of me either. I have to admit. But I think that they would benefit from maybe cleaning up their game a little bit and develop more. They could develop more as players, because I think there's a lot of talent in that team, and I think they could go further.
Yeah, sure.
Hacker smiling. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else to add, gentlemen, for Empire? Nope. Cool beans. All right. Well, yeah, Empire 10th, down 1 from predictions. Hacker, do you know if this will be a team that we continue to see in this kind of configuration, or?
I'm not sure. We might.
Amazing.
At least 3-4 of them maybe, but I don't know.
Amazing stuff. Alrighty. Moving on. 9th place, we have Sunday Kebabs. Amazing team name. Up 1 from predictions with Skitchy, Big Boss, Mike, Noob, Limadab, and Avo. Who would like to get us started talking about Sunday Kebab? Gotte, you were saying you actually had a few matchups against them?
We played a lot of Sunday Kebab that weekend. Not on Sunday, but all the other days. They, from what I could tell, they did virtually the exact same thing in every game, at least against us and the other teams around our level. They played a 3-man defense, which was reasonably hard to crack, at least if you're attacking it alone. And a very effective 2-man attack. I think one of the most effective 2-man attacks for looking at the level they were playing at. Mostly they were playing with Big Boss and Mike going out as the starting 2 attacking, and they were just picking their bases and we're gonna get this one, and most of the time they got it, especially against Trash Pandas. They got it pretty quickly, but they were efficient against most teams, and I knew that when we were playing against them as well, that's the one time I adjusted our strategy a little bit to strengthen our defense a little bit extra, to try and push them away from attacking our base and try to push them towards the other base, the 2 attacking players.
Yeah.
Overall, I think they played a pretty well organized game. They can become a little bit disorganized when things don't go as they want them to. That's when they start shouting a lot at each other, especially Noob and Big Boss. They can become a little bit unhappy with each other, but they're great. They have a lot of very good man-to-man players, especially Big Boss and Mike. Really, really dangerous player for that level. They could play for top teams as well, I think, especially if they practice a lot. I mean, Mike has been around for ages, and he has one of my favorite play styles in laser tag. He's very clean in the way he holds a wall, takes bases, and plays his game. Really enjoyed watching them playing against them. It was fun games, really fun games, and I think as well 9th place for them. I think they did really well, and they should be proud of that.
Amazing. Domi or Hacker, have you got some observations on Sunday Kebabs?
I would say when we played them, it wasn't a lot, but we played them, and I would say they were not so tough to play against as Empire for us. I don't know why exactly, but I think it's just that when 2 of them are attacking, and then we would, for example, I would attack, and there were only with 3 players there. So I don't know how the communication between them is, between the attack and the defense exactly. But yeah, ninth place is good, I would say.
Hacker, anything?
I don't really have anything, even though considering that Heikki said that they tried his base swap with us once, but I just don't remember that game at all. I must have been somewhere else.
Elsewhere. Speaking of base swaps, I have. Yeah, I think I only have. Well, so it wasn't actually this one. This is where it didn't happen when I thought maybe it should have. So, I don't remember versing Sunday Kebab before this point, but they managed to climb through the elimination games, and they ended up in the same elimination game as what's it called? Majestic 5 and Sunday Kebab. And so the first game of the series, Majestic 5 got like 4 bases on Sunday Kebab. And those were the only bases that went down in the game. And there was like 3-4 minutes left. So I was like, okay, if I dump to Sunday Kebab, they're probably going to want a base swap with me, because then we can both like catch up, get the 5 bases, and then the 4 bases that Majestic 5 are like really grinded for, like it's all like equalized now. And it's a way for us to all catch up in the series. And so I like dumped my team to Sunday Kebab's base. I stayed behind to try and like stall and hold up any Majestic 5 players that maybe came. And I was like just waiting for Sunday Kebab to come. I was like, cool, we'll do a swap and this would be great. I was sitting there and I was like, they're not coming. They're not coming. And yeah, I'm like, oh no. And then I like go to like see what's happening. And yeah, they've crunched on us with 5. And then yeah, Majestic 5 got 4 free bases. And I was like, oh no, this has gone horribly wrong. So that was my experience. So Moomin was saying before how they never dump. Heikki was saying how they do. My experience was that they don't, but he's saying I was in the game that they've tried to do a base swap with Mega Friends. I don't remember this one honestly, but I'm now traumatized from this last game. Because what happened in the series before that is I got base swapped on twice, and I was like, oh, this is what happens in these finals series. I'll do that with this team, and they didn't. And I was like, oh. But either way, like Majestic 5 still played the series well. Like they got the first 4 bases, so they're in a good spot. Forced us in a bad spot. But yeah, that was my one thing I remember about playing against Sunday Kebabs. So does anyone else have any observations or memories about the Sunday Kebab team? Nah. Amazing. Well, yeah, congrats to them. 9th, up 1 from predictions. Had a good climb on the last day, I think. And yeah, cool. Moving on. We have me and my team, Electric Fire. Down 1 from predictions. We had Lucky Luke, Phantom, Froston, myself, Holmes, Fredster, and Odin. I guess I can say a little bit to begin with, and then I'll hand it over to you guys, and you can lay it on thick. But yeah, obviously this is the Fredster, Lucky Luke, Phantom, and Froston have played together on Electric Fire. This was my first time playing with them, and Odin's first time playing with them. So there was a lot of figuring out how we wanted to play and where we wanted to play who, because for instance, like Lucky Luke, Froston, Odin, and myself typically play like pretty similar positions in the arena. So there was a bit of like figuring out, okay, like where are we actually going to play people? So initially it was more of a because from what I could tell, it was going to be like a very hard to attack field pointy arena. So I was like, okay, we had Lucky Luke pushed up towards like 1 base, Froston pushed up towards 1 base, and then people behind them backing them up, and just kind of like pushing and pulling the arena, and getting as much field points as you can, and getting bases kind of opportunistically. We started with this, but we kept having issues of like people sneaking behind us and stuff, or just like not being like basically not being able to do much. Like we were getting good field points, but we weren't getting bases and we were dropping bases. So we ended up swapping pretty soon after the play-in stages. And actually, we did try once just doing a straight up 3-player defense and then letting Lucky Luke and Frostin attack together because they play very well off of each other and attack well together. But that wasn't working. I kind of didn't think it would, like, against like the top teams. Like if you just send like a 2-man attack, like a dedicated 2-man attack, they're getting like crunched on here and snapped in the back there, and then they bounce and they get crunched and they get snapped in the back there. So we abandoned that pretty quickly as well. What we ended up doing was I kind of took leadership of the team because I could feel that the way this arena was playing was maybe not suited to how Electric Fire has played in the past. So as a more experienced player on the team, I kind of took the leadership role and in the in-game leader. What we ended up doing was pretty similar to what we initially had with like Frostin and Lucky Luke pushed up a little bit further, 2 people like further behind them, but limited a little bit as to what Frostin and Lucky Luke were able to do, because when they were going too far, we were screaming home and people weren't crunching home in time, like even if they did hear it, and so we kept dropping bases. So they were a little bit more conservative, still getting like crazy field points. Like I think we were out field pointing like almost every single team that we played against, which was cool. And then I would be in the thick of it, going between the other 2 bases, occasionally coming home, just gathering information, field pointing, and looking for opportunities to get bases, like a good opportunity to send a 2 or a 3-man attack. And once we had that really down, I actually worked really well for us. I think Cascade 2 in particular was really, really strong for us. But on the last day, the way those 3-game series were playing, actually the first series we played was against Team Destroyer and Paria, and we did the same thing, and it was going pretty well. There was a couple small mistakes we made here and there that lost us that series, and Team Destroyer played very well, obviously. But then the way the next 2 series played was just like so not like how like the rest of the games that we'd played were, and we didn't adjust properly to it. Yeah, I just want to shout out all of the team. I think Lucky Luke, Phantom, Frostin, Fredster, Odin, they learned like maybe less Odin, but they're definitely for the Electric Fire core like guys. I think they learned so much from this tournament. Like different ways of playing, new ways of thinking. Like I taught them like a lot of comms that they picked up like straight away, and just like pack on pack individual shooting ability. They were all super strong, and I'm super impressed. You know, down 1 from predictions, but like we had some really high highs. I'm pretty sure we beat every team in the tournament that we played against at some point. Yeah, pretty happy with how that all went. A little traumatized by how the last 2 series went, but that is what it is. Who wants to start talking shit? You don't all have to.
I don't really remember a lot of the later games that you guys did. Maybe I do. I don't know. I don't really know what the word would be. Maybe like kind of insecure. That's kind of how it felt like watching you guys play. Like I think it lacked like confidence. I don't know, or maybe it was like the lack of organization and people not being like 100% sure of like what they're supposed to be doing or what they can do or like that kind of stuff. So that's one thing that kind of I felt playing against you guys. Some of the games actually that I reffed, rather like the later like Cascade 2 games and those, it's as you said, like you really kind of evolved as well throughout, obviously, because you haven't played with these guys before. And some of the last games, they looked really good. When you go to SweNats and the 3-game series starts, really weird shit can happen, okay? I've been on the receiving end of this weird shit last year. So it can happen, and it is what it is.
You got to experience it once. Yeah. No, cool. Domi, Gotte, have you got any observations about Electric Fire?
I think we played you guys like 3 or 4 times, and like 2 times of that I didn't play. So
Yeah.
the
Amazing.
one time I remember is us two battling it out, like in the tunnel. I remember you guys were green and we were red. And I mean, obviously, you guys had a like roller coaster tournament because you had like crazy jumps in ranks, I think. But I don't know. I would have predicted you like 6. I would say because like how strong of pack on pack you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, maybe like 4 players that typically play the same position isn't as ideal in a team like that. Like if you had like 2 players that play a different position,
yeah,
I think you would have definitely ended up higher.
Yeah, and I think we absolutely could have been those 2 positions higher if we adjusted properly to how the games were playing on the last day. But yeah, we're still just trying to play them as if all the rest of the games had played in the tournament, and being like, I particularly was a little bit stubborn about not deviating from that because it had gone so well previously. But any other observations from you guys? Nah, fantastic. Well, yeah, 8 to Electric Fire, down 1 for predictions. Still, again, super proud of how much the team developed and learned over the course of the tournament. And I hope going forward, I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to play with them again, but I look forward to seeing the how much of what they've learned from this tournament impacts how they play like going forwards as their full normal Electric Fire roster. Cool beans. Moving on. 7th, we have Majestic 5, down 2 from predictions. We have Buckshot, Jaehong, Moomin, Bambi, and Patalo. Who wants to get us started talking about Majestic 5? Any takers?
So, yeah, maybe I should start then. I've been a Majestic 5 a couple of times before myself, although it's been a while. I played with all of these players before. I was not sure before the tournament, like what level they would be at, because yeah, like I've mentioned several times before now, I haven't played for 2 years, so I don't know. Like Bambi's getting old, Mumi's getting old, I'm getting old as well. It's the way with the Federkin players now. Like
bunch of old farts.
Yeah, but I was yeah, not surprised to see, but there's still a lot of quality in both Moomin and Bambi left. I still feel like I'm amazed at how well Bambi ages like a player, especially considering like he basically never practices laser tag. Which is crazy to me how he still keeps playing at such a high level. Feel like overall, maybe they underperformed a little bit. But I also think that maybe they suffer from this having a lot of fairly like similar play styles. They're not like the same player at all. But I don't think Bambi is the sort of player like he used to be, where he goes out into the arena and he creates a lot of just chaos on his own and breaks a lot of bases on his own. So I think they relied a lot on having him as a sort of scout, going out looking for bases, trying to bring a player with him to maybe crack one, and playing with a strong defense, and maybe getting caught on the back foot quite a lot. I haven't looked back at like the elimination rounds at all, so I don't know how things went there. But I feel like that's the risk with that team, is them getting caught on the defense, having played solid, but it's a 3-team game, and just being caught behind a little bit, and therefore maybe not performing always as well as they could, because I think they have more potential than they got out of this tournament, I think.
Yeah. No, I think yeah, I'll give Bambi a big shout out. The first series we played against them on the last day, because we played them in two series, was against Iparia and them. And the first game, we're like field pointing, like we're playing a field point focused game because generally the first game is like pretty low scoring, and not a lot of bases go down. And I'm asking my team like, how are we going on pack? How are we going on pack? And they're like, good, but like Bambi's got way more than us. Like trust. And I was like, okay, cool. I was kind of hoping that like as the whole team, we were all saying we were doing pretty well, and that it would be enough. But like when we checked the scores after the game, Bambi got like an 8K field points, no bases game. In this series, and we was like, that is quite a lot of field points. So yeah, he was definitely causing some problems for us, doing a similar job to what I was doing, like scouting, accruing field points, looking for a cheeky opportunity and stuff. But yeah, he was doing quite well from what I saw, and all of them were doing quite well. And I think the reason that they beat us in the last series in particular was they just rather than playing a standard game, they played based on the teams that were in there. You know what I mean? Like they tailored it to the teams that were in there rather than just playing the same game over and over again, which is what we were doing. So kudos to them for being able to like strategize for specific games and make those adjustments. It obviously got them. They beat us in 2 series in a row. So I haven't got anything else to say about the Majestic 5. Hacker and Domi, have you got anything to add?
Yeah. So we got into a game with them. I think it was the first game we played against them, the tournament, and we were saying to ourselves, surely they are defending like with 4 people. And then actually they weren't. So they were mixing up a lot of things. So that was good to see. And also like it was crazy because like in the first cascade, I think they were higher than Omega 9, and then like they switched up and then again or something. Like it was, and then Omega 9 obviously ended up higher than them. So that was surprising to see for me, at least, because I would have thought this was the better team, personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think both Omega 9 and Majestic 5 were doing a bit of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hacker, have you got any observations?
I think this is like the first team that we got now that is like what I consider like getting to like really organized, really structured teams. And like that comes obviously from the experience they got because they played such a long time. Not all of them obviously, but that's one thing that I really think they like excelled at, was the organization and having like the ship run smoothly, so to say. Even though I'd put them below you guys, Holmes, in like pure like firepower, but like the experience, the organizations, the structure in the game, I think that like put them ahead of you guys.
Yeah. I think a quick shout out. This team, especially like Moom and Jaehong and Patalao, they were like absolutely slaving away with their volunteer work, like organizing the tournament, Patalao with the media. So yeah, them being able to balance that and still like doing like quite well, especially on that last day. Yeah, super impressive. Kudos to them, and thank you for putting in the hard work. You need to get a Australasian Championships volunteer program type thing, so you can kind of share the load with more people, because that's more work than just a few people should be doing. But did an amazing job, and yeah, being able to play still was tip my hat, respect. Any other observations about Majestic 5?
Not really, no.
No. Oh, cool. Amazing. All right, we'll move on then to our 6th place, Omega 9. The first team that was actually even with their predictions. We have Smiley, Super, Slanesh, Fliz, and Maverick. Who would like to get us started talking about Omega 9?
I think with Omega 9, because it was the same elimination series that Majestic 5 got eliminated in. And I think the fact that these guys are like above them just came down to the firepower fact that I just said about Majestic 5. I think these guys outfield pointed them in every single one of the games. Yeah, I'm cheating a bit here. Yeah, and by quite a lot. So that I think is the big like difference between these two teams. And what these guys excelled at was that they were able to get all the bases that they needed and get the field points.
Yeah, no, that checks
I
out.
don't know what Moomin means by that they got flopped to death, but
yeah, what the hell does flopped mean, Merman? You got to explain that one. Domi, Gotte, you got any observations about Omega 9, how they played, stuff like this?
So yeah, I've played with them a lot, so I know them really well, and I was kind of like, I wasn't too involved with how the teams were set up, so I was like not surprised, but also found it a little bit funny with these 5 players together. It's like it feels a little bit like Omega 9 and Majestic 5 are sort of like 2 opposite sides of Gothenburg, not in terms that they are not friends or anything, but just in terms of personalities. It's not very it's not very well balanced, I would say.
Yeah.
You have a lot of players in this team, like you have a lot of like brilliant individual players who can make great moves in the arena, but you also have a lot of potential for like brain farts, to be honest. Like just misreading the game in the moment and making very hasty decisions and getting it wrong. There's a big risk with that for Mega 9, but there's also like so much experience in Smiley and Slaanesh, and I haven't looked at the scores, but I can imagine that they were packing a lot, both of them. We only played them once. I thought that we had them in that game, but obviously, like Slaanesh, he was just in the middle dueling, and I thought like, all right, we're taking points off them, and then we come out and he had more pack points than I had, and I was sniping. Like, what the fuck's going on? But also Smiley and Slaanesh, they play like different sides of the games, so I think that they complement each other really well, because Slaanesh is really, really heavy dueler, like one of the best in the games. And then Smiley is like one of the best snipers in the game, one of the best field players in the game. And they have 3 a little bit younger, although perhaps not Super, or Maverick either, but like 3 smaller, faster players with a lot of ability as well, especially Fleece. I think very chaotic play style at times.
Yeah, she was super explosive.
She,
I was like, I was watching, and I was like, oh, who's this lady? And she's just like zipping around. She's doing crazy dodges, sprinting, ducking. I was like, oh shit, that's some high octane gameplay right there. That's sick.
And she's taking a lot of smart decisions, I think, at the same time. I think in the game that we played against them, that we were very close to actually winning, which, based on the rankings, play skill, we shouldn't have been anywhere close. But I think if she hadn't taken the decision to interrupt our sniping line on her own, which basically no other player in the team were doing, we would have won that easily, because we would have packed so much more. We would have packed 2 or 3k more each, I think, if she hadn't been behind us, just dragging us away and chasing us down all the time. So she plays a very smart game as well, and also a very chaotic game. It's almost like, it feels like someone is pulling her with a string above some of the time, like she's like flying from side to side. It's really fun to see. But it's also like good. I think, to see that she's still developing as a player, and that she's she has what it takes to become a top player. She needs to do a little bit more work to become a little bit more consistent, a little bit less chaotic, and she can become one of the best players in Sweden, I think.
Cool. Any other observations, guys? Nope. That's cool. Alrighty. Well, yeah. Congrats to Omega 9, even with predictions. Moving on. 5th place, we have Iparia, the big climbers of the tournament, up 3 from predictions. We have Vanessa, Franklin, Aka, Jesse, and Death. Who wants to talk about Iparia first?
I mean, Obviously, big kudos to them making their first semi-finals, but I don't know, they kind of fell short, which was kind of expected in the semi-final series. In the second one, no, it wasn't the second one. Yeah, they weren't even close. But it just came kind of down to like what I remember from that semi-series was that who shoots them more are so uprising, and that's kind of just what I didn't really like get to see them like play their actual game because those games were just a slaughter fest. But like they clearly have improved like tournament to tournament. Like everything is like getting like really good, really sharp. Not maybe really sharp, but like sharpening.
I think
it's
my
great to see.
personal experience, all of these players, their timing was like super good. Like especially like even their timing activating as a down player with the 60 ms trigger delay. I doubled with these players more than I doubled with almost anyone else. Their timing was like super sharp, which was cool. And I think to comment on their climb on the last day, I think a lot of the success came from how their games were generally pretty low bases, at least the ones they were in, low bases and like high field point scoring game. And when what they were doing is they were dumping at about like you'd hear the 5 minutes remaining announcement, and then not long after, pardon me, they would do a dump. Dumps when you leave right at the start of the game are like generally pretty awful. They go pretty bad. A dump, when maybe it's like everyone's gotten heaps of bases and you're super behind, you're like, oh, we'll just dump. They also generally don't go super well. Like, you know, maybe you get some bases, but it's not enough to catch up. Dumps when basically not many bases have gone down and you do it in the last like, you know, quarter of the game are super effective, because what it does is it puts the other two teams in a really awkward position where they have to make some pretty difficult decisions, and none of them feel good. And I think they really you know, they worked that really well, and they obviously benefited from it, made a massive climb on the last day. But I think that's kind of my how I saw like those dump games were going, because they dumped almost every game as far as I'm aware. Unfortunately, one of them was with Majestic 5, and 2 times in the last series they dumped 2 Majestic 5, and Majestic 5 did a straight base swap with them. So we were left with no bases in the last 3 minutes of a game. But I think in hindsight, like knowing that was going to happen, maybe we should have invested more time into getting 1 or 2 of each of the bases before that point. So when there is a dump that happens, we're in a better spot. But we kept stubbornly doing our thing of just like, we'll just like outfield point everyone. We don't need to get bases, because when they did that, it punished us really hard. But yeah, those are my observations on the team. Also, they still have the absolute best logo I've ever seen in my life, and it's perfect for them, I think. I think it's so funny. But yeah, does anyone else have some observations from Eparia?
I think we actually played them quite a lot because they were much further down in the group stage. I was surprised to see them climb that much, but I was also not too surprised to see them like getting a good finish. Because I think that they played really well. Like they have really everything you need to make a good tournament, to make a good team. They play good together. They have good individual players that can pack a lot. They have different play styles which complement each other well, and they combine that with like being well organized, running good tactical schemes. Yeah, overall like a really solid game, and maybe a little special shout out to Franklin, who I think played a really good game. But overall, yeah, I thought Aperia was a pretty solid team.
Yeah, Shout out to them for the stickers. I managed to score one. Happy days. I haven't thought of a good place to put it yet because I don't want to put it on my phone because it's gonna get ruined. But yeah, I got one of them. So thank you guys for that. Very cool. Any other commentary on Eparia?
Yeah, so I remember one game with them. We were like, I think red and they were blue, and it was just a no base game. And I remember sneaking past Franklin one game, like in the mid arena, and then sneaking behind blue. And I'm like, oh shit, I maybe get a sneaky base right now. And then I met with Dev like behind the blue base, and we were just doubled on. And I'm like, oh no. And just like 2 seconds later, he's screaming, "Hey, barrier!" And I'm like, "Oh no, man, not so loud!" And then there were like 4 players standing in front of me. So yeah, that's what
amazing.
I remember.
That's amazing. Yeah, every time they won a duel, they'll be like, "Barrier."
Yeah,
every single time. Good on them. Does that translate to anything directly, Hacker, or is it just like it's one of those things that doesn't translate well?
It does. It doesn't translate that well. Maybe I can find some like one time I think I translated it for you once.
You did, yeah.
It's
I don't know
like,
if you sent it to me in a message though.
It's like, how would I say? If I say that you a barrier to me is like you don't like match up to me and I'm better than you and all that kind of
amazing.
Kind
of you ain't got shit on me.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Something like this kind of sentiment. That's awesome. That's so funny for like a young team to have, yeah, with a bit of an attitude. It's like I think it's a perfect team name for them. Honestly, it's so funny, and the logo as well. Bloody hell. Any other last observations or shout outs for Eparia? Nope. Cool. Well, yeah, congratulations to them for the really big climb, making it to all the way to the 5th place. Super cool, well played, and look forward to continuing to see the growth of this team because they're all still so young. A lot of room to grow still. 4th place, Team Destroyer, down 1 from predictions. We have Domi, David, Marcus, Jonas, Reaper, and Slame. Domi, do you want to get us started on this one, mate? Just lay it all out.
Yeah, so in a cascade, it felt like we were like just having a lot of these like close games, close second places with like, I don't know, like 6K, 7K difference. And there were like a lot of these. Like I remember in these cascades, we were like so down. We had like a 9-game streak without winning a game. So
no,
it was tough. And then we dropped, and then we had to climb back up through these 3-game series.
Yeah.
And just like this was also like our first time with Slane. So that was before we were only like 5 players. So the first time with 6 players this time. And like in game, I feel like personally we were just like a bit too much reactive instead of like acting on our own.
Yeah.
Like the SweNats before, it felt like I'm not gonna say too much, but like we had those quick attacks that just worked, and like we went from a no base game to like 1 base for us, and then we had the advantage.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was missing in our game this year. Like we just let it react and let the game play out, and then some other team would get a base first, and they would get the advantage, and then so we had to react. Yeah, and that was like the main thing I felt that was wrong.
Yeah, I think we were actually a bit the same. Yeah, just kind of being a little too content with just field pointing, playing the game out, and just waiting for something to happen rather than being the person making something happen. Yeah, for sure. Did you feel by the end of it that you had like resolved a lot of the issues that you guys were having, like those 1% differences that were making you just lose these games? Because obviously you did do a bit of a climb on the last day.
Yeah. And the last time it was a bit better. Like we climbed, and then like we knew our problems before the last day, and we tried to improve it, but clearly it wasn't enough. I think in the last 3-game series was against ThinkDad and Aparia. Yeah. I think the second game, after the second game, we were like fairly even, and then lost the game like by 8K, I think. So I don't know, just really sad that we missed finals this year, because we all know in finals everything can happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It was just like we noticed it too late, or we identified the problems too late, I think.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It happens.
Maybe
man.
a day earlier would have helped.
Yeah. It happens, bro.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. I don't know.
Yeah, because it was a bit tough, because I was thinking like what the thing was, because like for the entire tournament playing against you guys, it was like always something felt a bit off, like comparing to last year. And now that you said it, I think it is exactly that you were too like reactive and not active on your own.
Yeah, like
And yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that fell off for me about your gameplay. And I don't know, and like being that reactive and like having the games turn into situations where you like have to like catch back up. It put like you guys under pressure, and under that pressure, it felt like you were like weaker pack on pack as well, like comparing to last year. And I think all of that culminated into the fact that you didn't make finals this time.
Yeah. I guess my only observation, because I think we only versed you once, maybe twice, is more that I think you guys are all like super good at just like shooting people. I think in particular, what like Marcus is very good at, but I think the whole team is good at, is like that taking a duel, but like taking a panel like right at the last second, and you realize like, oh shit, I'm just standing in open, they're behind a panel. I remember, especially when I was at that training in Nuremberg, I got caught out by that so many times, and it was like super clean, perfect timing every time, and I was like, oh, they got me with it again. But yeah, I think playing against you guys, you're all like super solid, pack on pack, and I was really impressed with that. And yeah, like you were saying, sometimes it just takes that one day too long to figure out the kinks and the issues that are going on, and that gets you a fourth place. I know all too well. I've got the last two
places.
Yeah, I'm yeah. I've gotten too many of those damn things. Thank you, Mikey, for getting one shot denied at Worlds and getting us 5th instead of 4th. Absolute legend. Anyway, Gotte, have you got any observations about Team Destroyer?
I don't think I played Team Destroyer at all. Neither in Comp or LM. All I can say really is I played them before. They're a great team. I think their range is anywhere between 1st and 5th. They go 4th, which is maybe a little bit of a disappointment, but
yeah,
they'll be competitive again next year.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Has anyone else got any last things they want to say about Team Destroyer before we move on to our top 3? We start to wrap this stream up.
Like as you guys like already said it, you guys just didn't reach your kind of potential for this tournament, and like didn't have that few games more to like get everything under control and organized.
Well,
like
there's no better teacher than a 4th place.
Yeah. But for like Soltech, I'm sure that you guys will be really competitive again. Like you were here obviously, but like I think you were like falling a bit short on like what you could do or what I've seen you guys do.
Amazing stuff. Alrighty, well, Team Destroyer 4th place. Done one for predictions. Unlucky. We'll get them next time. Cool beans. Moving into our grand finalists. It's not uprising. It's the other way around. Whoopsie. I was looking at the wrong thing. Ha! That's awkward. That's awkward.
Not a stream moment.
Bear with me. I was looking at the wrong. I realized as soon as I saw it, I was looking at the wrong thing. They were predicted third, but +1. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Legacy. I love that. That is funny. Okay. As we were. Uprising was predicted 5th. No. I swear they were not predicted 5th. Let me check this moment. Anyway, so, someone, let me check. I'll double check this. Legacy, who wants to talk about them first? Hacker, maybe. Throw you onto the bus.
I mean, it's hard to talk about Legacy, like considering SweNats at least, because I feel like it's kind of the same package every year, and the same thing just kind of happens every year. They do the same things. They do the things really well, but they don't really have any like new tricks. Is that one thing that we kind of saw throughout the entire tournament from start to finish? And in the finals, we kind of thought that, yeah, they're going to probably do this and they're going to do that. And in the Cascades, we thought that they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And almost every time they did one of the things that like they always do. And it's a bit predictable. They're really good pack on back. They're really organized. They're really good at like what you want to call it, the Cobras, the Seesaw, the going from one base to another and taking both of them, like trying to get both of them. But
we call it a pain train in Australia.
But when pain train, yeah. But when you know that that's gonna happen, it's you can adapt to it, and you can like develop counter strategies for it. And I felt like that's one of the biggest things that they kind of lacked in the finals, at least. Obviously, they went straight to finals, so they were like the best team before that. But yeah, I think they're a bit predictable, to be honest. And that's just kind of easy to counter strat, I guess.
Yeah, I think there is something to be said. They were talking about it in the chat as well. The whole the first place seed going straight to the grand finals. I don't know if I would want to be the team that goes straight through to the grand finals, because sure, like, you know, guaranteed trophy, that's great, but I think you miss out on like I feel like you see quite a lot of adjustments get made even on that last day in those games going into the grand finals that you kind of miss out on, you know, like these little changes that get made. And also you go in like a little bit cold, like, you know, you do the warm-up thing, but it's not the same. So not to say that that's why they came third, but I think it's maybe a contributing factor. I wouldn't want to be the team that make it straight through.
Yeah, it could be. Definitely affects like not getting to play a full series before the finals. And I think it is an advantage to get to play the series before finals. But like Heikki mentioned in the chat, that we didn't really care when we went straight to finals, that SweNats still won. So
yeah,
it doesn't really matter that much.
Weird flex, but cool. I had to do it to him. Domi and Gotte, have you got any thoughts, feelings about Legacy?
Yeah, like they also mentioned in chat, Shadowy was sick the last day, because I was asking myself why he didn't play it. And so I think that also contributed to that a bit, because I think he was like one of their top 2 players in this arena, especially like in the mid arena. He was crazy. So yeah.
That's who was sick on the last day, was he?
Yeah.
That's unlucky. That sucks. Domi, have you got any observations about Legacy?
Yeah, when we played them, I think because they also came first in a cascade, So when we played them, they were always like the best team, and I'm not sure if we beat them. Like I said, it was tough for us. So especially in the mid cascades,
you're going through some rough times.
It was tough, yeah.
In the trenches.
In the trenches, we had some close seconds, I think, against them, but not really much. Like compared to last year, I think they played a bit worse because I remember last year, like their red base was especially crazy, defending from the red base, and this year we haven't seen that played, but also I was in the finals, so I don't know how they played exactly. So I can't say much about the finals.
I mean, the red base like defense was really good at finals because Uprising dumped them in the first game when Legacy was red. The thing that they didn't do well in that was that they just kind of stayed and defended, and we got all the blues from Legacy. Like they couldn't get, they got 2, I think. So we just kind of like cut the blues from them and got a lot of pack from there being 10 players on red, and that gave us the big lead in the first game.
Yeah. Amazing. Any other thoughts on Legacy, guys?
Not really, no.
That's cool. Yeah, alrighty. Moving on. We have Uprising, and they are up 2 from predictions. I was wrong. Thank you to whoever corrected me in the chat. Up 2 from predictions. We have Dedum, Napis, Destro, LRE, Valiakari, and December. Who wants to get us started talking about Uprising? Or I'll throw one of you under the bus.
Watching them like play throughout this tournament was really interesting because I think they kind of went through their like entire playbook and then just started like writing new pages to it. Because I feel like every single game we faced them, they were doing something differently. Like they might have been like tiny adjustment, but like they tried out a lot of different kind of stuff. The few things that they surprised us with was that they were like the only team that I personally saw who had a really like attacked with 3, like had an actual 3-person attack and just left 2 people to defend. And well, that worked for them for a while, and then it didn't work anymore, and then they had to adapt again. But I think they did really well. Like I think they swapped around their like defenders and attackers even on the final day, and yeah, they're just a solid team. I don't know. I don't really know anything else to say to that.
Domi, you got something to add?
Yeah, so I think like pack on pack, they're one of the like top 2 teams. I would say, like all of them are really strong. And when I remember one game we played against them, and we were trying stuff out, and we dumped on their red base, and they would just defend, and we would get like 7 bases in the end, but beat it down like 20k, and they had like 5, so that didn't really work out. Yeah, they just decided to stay instead of base swap, and it worked out for them. But yeah, I'm sad to see them second, to be honest, because they had so many second places like in the last years. Like I remember I don't know, like it had to be like 3 second places or something without a win.
Yeah, I think they have 3 second places.
Yeah.
And Legacy has 3 third places in a row.
Crazy to see.
It stings. That sucks. Yeah, 4th and 2nd place for me are like the positions I just don't want to come. Naturally, I have a lot of 2nd places inside events as well in Australia.
Well, 4th is better because you can shower earlier. You can go home earlier.
That's true. I guess that's true enough. Never thought you'd say 4th is better. I don't know. Nah.
Well, I mean, second and fourth, you both those are like losing positions. So the faster you get to go home, it's better.
I would
yeah,
argue
true.
second
Plus, you go
feels
home and get on the
better.
beers.
Yeah.
Domi's team second is better. At least you get a trophy.
Yeah, second is better than fourth. Yeah.
Of course, it's better because you get to play the finals and all that. But just a bit of a joke for you guys to lighten the mood.
Lighten the mood, guys. Chill. Gotte, did you have any observations on Uprising from like reffing or maybe playing them once or twice or something?
I don't think we played them at all.
Amazing.
Comp.
Yeah, amazing.
It's also for me Uprising is an unknown team, but that's because I've been out of it for a few years. So
sure.
I don't know how this team comes together. I know December, Destra, and Datum have played together before, and I sort of recognize the other three players, but I don't know who they are, to be honest. And they came second, so obviously they're good.
They must be.
Yeah.
All right. Any other things we want to say about Uprising before we get to our winners and wrap up the stream? Nope. Amazing. Congratulations to Uprising on being up 2 from predictions. Unlucky on just missing out on the win, but we'll get them next time, hopefully. Moving on. First, Mega Friends. Even with predictions, we have Kepsi, Minerva, Haka, Heki, and Elku. Amazing. Who wants to get started?
I mean, sure, I can go first.
Yeah, good man.
Because you guys talked about being in the trenches. I don't think we were in the trenches at any point, but we were kind of like leaning towards like almost falling into the trenches, like in some of the first group games. Yeah, just like that. Some of the first group games, and yeah, there were a lot of games in the groups, in the Cascades 1 and 2, that we were just like, we were a bit off. Like, because we play kind of reactive as well. That's kind of a play style.
Yeah.
As most people in EU have seen. But we played reactive, but we didn't really react. We just kind of just like kept doing our thing, didn't really react, and then we dropped a lot of games because of that.
Yeah.
And
you're just chill guys.
Yeah, we were just chilling. The biggest, like, I mean, not the biggest, the weirdest things for us was that last year green base was like clearly our strongest, and red base was definitely our weakest. Now for some reason it like swapped around. Red was our strongest and green was our weakest. Weird. So we didn't really know what was going on, and there were a lot of things to like fix and yeah, we managed to kind of fix the things that were like we were missing. This arena is maybe not the best for us. I mean, that feels stupid to say when we won, but like we really like prefer like the more control living and like lockdown bases, because I think we have the power to like actually crack those as attackers, and as defenders we can like actually just lock those down. So this arena having the Swedish bases being so volatile is one thing that like automatically is a weak thing for us. But we actually in the finals got to play our like preferred game quite a lot, and that really was one of the biggest reasons we won, was that like there weren't that much like weird stuff happening. I mean, there were like a lot of dumps, but that's obviously expected because we kind of know that these teams like did it throughout the tournament, and we knew to expect those. And after the first game, big win, and having that lead going into the second game, we just like were able to neutralize the last 2 games, and that was enough for us.
Yeah, I feel like when you play that reactive style, if you in a series, if you do win that first game, it really plays into that play style even more, because the teams have to do some pretty drastic stuff to catch up. And as long as you're making the right decisions and actually reacting to it and not just watching it. I think it works out pretty nicely. So, kudos to you guys.
One thing I have to really shout out was in the second game that when me and Heikki were like kind of ping-ponging the other two defenses and getting like absolutely destroyed. Our defense line actually got like a lot of pack points. We were one base down to the other team and 2 bases down to the winning team, and we were like really neck to neck, and they really pulled us through on that one. So big kudos to those guys.
Sick, amazing. Domi, Gotte, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I think this reactive playstyle suits you guys really well, because if like especially like in these first games of a 3-game series, you guys will always control the map and usually like get the most pack points, so you're at an advantage. And then obviously one team has to react, and then you guys play your style. So I remember seeing the final in the second game, and you guys only had like, I think at one point 1 base or something, and you were up like an insane amount of pack points. And I was thinking to myself, like, what's going on in there? I don't know if you remember the second game of the final.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about when like me and Heikki were like getting destroyed.
Yeah, true.
But defenders found a lot of points from somewhere. I don't know. Pull it out of somewhere, out of a hat. I don't know.
Yeah, but in general, I feel like you guys played a way more stable game than last SweNats.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like
last SweNats are like our stable games were the green games because it was so strong for us. But then like going to the other bases, we had to do weird shit to like try to get something done.
Yeah, but like in general, you had like last SweNats, you had like games where you played really well, and then the next game, I always wondered like what happened to you guys. And like this SweNats, I haven't had that at all.
Yeah. Well, last SweNats, I think probably one big thing was that it was our first tournament, and we were still like kind of figuring things out.
Yeah.
Even though I've played with last SweNats, I had played with Heikki, Elko, and Minerva like a lot. So, but still, we live, we learn.
Yeah. Any other observations, guys? Nope. Amazing. Well, congratulations to Mega Friends and to you, Hacker, for taking the win this tournament.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to what's the next European tournament going to be? Will it be the European Championships, or will there be one before then?
Most likely, yes, unless there's something in Germany during the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have any info yet on that, so we'll have to see.
No worries.
There's gonna be like minors, but I don't know. Next major tournament probably is Celtic.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, that's probably it for the stream. Before you look at the time, I want you to all guess how long the stream went for. What's your guesses? And whoever wins gets I don't know, nothing.
I've already looked at the time. I know we're over 3 hours.
Oh, now you spoiled it.
Yeah.
Well, he's actually wrong. It's not been over 3 hours. So
it's slightly under then.
Yeah.
240.
Slightly under.
240.
240, okay, because I
I
can
don't
see
know.
the 223
I'm
clock,
just
but I
guessing.
also jumped out at one point.
Well, yes, it was 2 hours 47 minutes. So a solid stream. I think that the review streams are hard when you have especially so many teams, because I'm yet to think of a better way to do a review stream. If anyone has any ideas, not that it's not fun and like it's not good content, but it is like it takes a long time. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know. And I will be happy to try it out in the next review stream.
I mean, the thing that you do for Australia, that you have like kind of divided like groups of teams. And
yeah, actually,
if you could get like players from all of the groups for the segments, that would be probably the best.
Yeah, And I wanted to do that for this, but I wanted it to be done by the new year, and it was going to be so hard to organize 2 or 3 streams before the end of the new year with like Christmas and everything happening. So we just kind of like raw dogged it with one stream. But I think we did a great job. Thank you so much, Gotte, Hacker, and Domi for joining me. I hope we had a good time. Chat, viewers, I hope you got some value out of the stream, had a good time. Thank you for everyone talking in the chat. It's probably the most active one of the most active chats I've seen, so that's super cool. Yeah, the VOD will get uploaded soon for anyone that missed it, and or anyone that wants to watch it back. And aside of that, I think there's one more video, LSA video, that's going to come out before the end of the year. It's just like a vlog from me, just talking about my own opinions and thoughts on SweNats, particularly looking at it through the lens of someone from Australia and the Australasian Championships. So you can stay tuned for that. Otherwise, yeah, there won't be another stream and there won't be any more videos until the new year. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to all the people that made me think. No worries. Thank you to all the people that made me coming to SweNats possible. Few generous people. I won't shout them out in case they don't want everyone to know, but they know who they are. They made me coming over to this trip possible, because I wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise. So bless. Goodbye. Hope we all had a Merry Christmas, and I hope we all have a Happy New Year. Looking forward to all the cool shit that's going to come in 2025. Peace. Boom.